606 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake Barty producing. We call it Mornings with Brian Haldane, and we are off and running on this Thursday. Kind of look at the rundown for today a little bit. Going to be hard-pressed not to talk about LSU Florida a lot today. A lot. I've only got it on the rundown in two different locations, but, like, for example, next segment is our sports segment every single day at 6:15. But hard-pressed not to talk about LSU Florida. That is if you're looking at the LSU schedule every year, the two games that I pay the most attention to, more so than Alabama, LSU Auburn, LSU Florida. Why? They're just been consistently better games over the last 25 years. The last quarter of a century, it's been a better rivalry. It's been a lot more decided on the field. Up to and including last year, where, an errant shoe and a ridiculously impossible field goal won the day. We'll talk about that a lot today. Actually, we'll talk about it a lot tomorrow as well. Ramping you up to an 11 a.m. kickoff in Tiger Stadium Saturday. Patrick Crimestoppers, host of the Patty G Show, is going to stop by at 6:35 this morning. Got a couple of different topics to talk about with Patty G. Number one, Business Report is out with their best places to work list. Are they looking at the right criteria? I mean, I probably should say yes, because Guarantee, the company where I work here, is on the list and is the best place in Baton Rouge to work, clearly. But is the Business Report breaking down the right criteria to determine what is or is not the best place around to work? Also, when Petty G's in, there's a recent amount of growth in the gaming space in Louisiana. Not gaming like gambling, but gaming like video games. The number of tech companies that are thinking about calling Louisiana home is on the rise. In the 7 o'clock hour, how do you spend $1 billion? The state recently found out we've got $1 billion surplus. So the likelihood of that coming back to us in any form or fashion of, lower taxes for a year or two, no, that's not on the table. What is on the table is figuring out how to spend it. State Senator Franklin Foyle is going to join us at 7:15. Actually, we're going to do this for 2 days in a row. Franklin Foyle is going to join us at 7:15 today. State Representative Scott McKnight, 7:15 tomorrow. Breaking down how to actually spend the money. And it's not going to equal out to $1 billion. But, look, playing supermarket sweep over here. Let's get it. 7:35, we have our Crimestoppers segment. It is Red Ribbon Week in the schools of Baton Rouge. Looking forward to talking about that a little bit. Then in the 8 o'clock hour, we got a little make-up date with Congressman Garret Graves. He was voting during the D.C. Current segment yesterday, so he could not be on with us, but he is on with us today at 8:15 to talk about everything going on in Congress right now, from infrastructure to a temporary raising of the debt ceiling to where are we at with oil and gas in Louisiana? Oil prices seem to be going back through the roof. As far as the price per barrel of oil, not through the roof, but back to where we haven't seen in the last 5 or 6 years. But where are we looking at from the supply side? The offshore leases start back up again next month, or some have been approved for next month. Where are we at on the supply side? We'll talk with Garret Graves about that. And then we are looking at a cool front moving in as we get into the weekend, which I cannot wait for. That's going to be so great. Waking up Saturday morning with temperatures in the 50s. As you make your way out towards Tiger Stadium, temperatures in the 60s, not getting out of the 60s at all on Saturday. Dr. Josh Eachus is going to join us at 8:35 this morning, actually 8:40 this morning, to talk about that. Plus, we'll have the latest COVID-19 news, the latest on Hurricane Ida recovery, and a whole lot more. Oh, those that are watching on YouTube, special treat, YouTube-only content for today. It'll air tomorrow. But you ever heard of actor Peter Stormare? Peter Stormare. You would know him from Fargo. You would know him from The Big Lebowski. I took forever for me to realize that he was also Alexi in Bad Boys 2. He's going to join me at 10 minutes after 9 o'clock this morning. So as soon as we're off the air, Peter Stormare is in a new movie called The Grand Duke of Corsica. And if you haven't seen the trailer yet, go look up the trailer. This might be one of the weirdest movies of the last half decade. Very much looking forward to that. And you can see it on YouTube after the show's over with. So That's what we've got this morning. That's the rundown, plus top stories and trending, plus the outside in, plus Louisiana's finding itself in weird spots on different lists. We'll have all that coming your way. Jake will have this day in history, all coming your way throughout the morning this morning. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we talk sports. Before we take that break, though, every single day I tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. They've got 2 locations, one on Perkins Road, just east of Bluebonnet, one on Plank Road in Zachary. And the reason I tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision is when you get into an accident, you got to know where you're going before the accident happens. If you don't know where you're taking your car after an accident, before an accident happens, you can likely end up someplace where maybe the cops on the scene call for a tow truck, and that tow truck just takes you where they know a guy, where they're trying to hook their buddy up with business. Or maybe you call your insurance company first, and they've got a deal hammered out with a body shop. Either way, you are not priority number 1 for that place. If you go to Complete Collision Center, however, you are. Doug and his team are certified by more than a dozen manufacturers. The people who make the cars say they know how to fix them. They have the iCar Gold Class certification, and yes, they will pick up that battle with the insurance company. So do me a favor. Put this number in your phone right now. 225-768-9898. 225-768-9898. Know where you're going in an accident before you ever get into an accident. And in the meanwhile, if you want to learn more about what they do and how they do it, check out CompleteCollision.com. All right. 1 second. Buckets. There's YouTube. Morning, Renee. Morning, Eric. Morning, Debbie. Welcome in, y'all. Morning, everybody. I don't know why it doesn't show me everybody who's in. All right. No, we'll skip those. It's the same cut for the first one. 616 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP. LSU getting geared up to play Florida this Friday. Well, what's left of LSU? I mean, the hits just keep on coming for this year's Tiger team. Got another defensive back down and out for the year. Latest is Elias Ricks. I shouldn't say another for the year. We don't know the status of Derek Stingley, but I'd be hard-pressed to believe that he'll ever don an LSU uniform again. So Ed Ogeron was on the SEC coaches teleconference yesterday. He talked about, well, among other things, Eli Ricks, he down.
We received news this week that Eli Ricks will be out, unavailable the rest of the season. So that means we have to move maybe Cordell Flott to cornerback, Sage Ryan to nickel. We have a different combinations that we're going to work this week. But that's the news about players unavailable, new stuff this week.
It's a different headline every day, it feels like. They get Glenn Logan back this week. Ooh. But just this constant barrage of injuries, suspensions, players ineligible. I mean, they've been hamstrung every time they've hit the field. One bright spot has been his numbers weren't great last week, but one bright spot throughout this season has been the improvement of quarterback Max Johnson.
Gutsy, gritty, the same type of quarterback we had seen the whole time in practice. Found a way to win. The team believes in him. Thought it was a signature win for Max.
From last season, which again came down to the wire. They were 21-point underdogs when they went into the Swamp. They should not have been in the game. If you looked at it on paper, they shouldn't have been in the game before they got off the plane. But yet proved to be worthy foes down in the Swamp. Dan Mullen said in that same SEC coaches teleconference yesterday that he's expecting a battle. As you would. You don't go out and SEC coaches teleconference just be like, we're going to mop the floor with these guys. But nonetheless, Tigers have a number of other issues as well. It's very easy to look at all the injuries and suspensions and everything else on the field, the players on the field, and forget that there's a coach that was on the sidelines that we haven't seen in a good while due to a loss in his family as well. Are we going to see Kevin Falk back this year?
I saw him last week. He looks like he's getting in a little bit better spirits, obviously, but he has a lot of stuff to deal with. I told him to take the time that he needs for him and his family, and I haven't talked to him with a timeline or anything. And so I know there's some stuff that he's taking care of, obviously being the great father that he is. So we're going to give him time to take care of that stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, football's always going to come second to something like that. Kickoff, 11 o'clock Saturday morning. Network pregame begins at 9. Our coverage on Eagle 98.1, I believe, begins at 7 a.m. You can catch all the action right down the hall on Eagle 98.1, your home for LSU sports. All right, quick break for the Fox Business Report. When we come back, a couple of new lists are out. Louisiana, a little bit more resilient than you might think when it comes to the workforce. We'll talk about it next. Hey, morning, Christy. Welcome in, boo. Gonna be a long day today, a long night tonight. don't know what's wrong with this. All right, well, I was able to get in YouTube earlier. I'm not now, so what's happening to everybody on YouTube? .625 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Patrick Grimion going to be by in our next segment, about 10 minutes from right now. After we check news, traffic, weather at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk with Patty G about the best places to work in Baton Rouge. Is the business report looking at the right criteria? Also talk a little bit about the tech space, about the gaming space here in Louisiana as well. Looking forward to that. Right now, though, not the only time we're going to be talking about the best and worst. Got a couple of new lists that are out. And one of them, let's start with the bad one before we get to the good one. A new study found Louisiana is the number 7 worst state for older workers when facing income, taxes, and health care. The study reads, or the press release reads, a record 10.6 million Americans 65 and over are in the workforce, a number expected to surge to 16 million by 2030 for myriad reasons. A survey found 70% work to pay for basic necessities, 60% work because they enjoy it, and the acceleration of remote working during COVID-19 has more seniors working from home. Senior Lead Today released a study on the best states for older workers in 2021 using data from the census, the CDC, and Tax Foundation, comparing every state across 5 categories. They looked at labor force participation, income, taxes, health care, and life expectancy. Louisiana came out close to the bottom of the list. The 7th worst overall. Why were they 7th worst overall? Or why were we 7th worst overall? State income tax of 4%, average life expectancy of 75.6, 96% of seniors are on Medicare, 40.1% of seniors have an annual income of over $50,000. Well, we think, well, you got an average annual income over $50,000. That's a good thing, right? Well, from their perspective, if you've got an annual income at all, it's a bad thing that you're still working at that point. The study was released earlier in the week, and I could post a link up to it on the YouTube feed if you want. But best and worst states for older workers. Says while many Americans are counting down the days until they retire, there are many reasons to remain in the workforce past age 67, which is when American workers can draw their full Social Security retirement benefits. For one, continuing to work helps build a more robust retirement portfolio, but many older workers may prefer to stay in the labor pool, whether because they love their work or because they want to remain part of a community. A survey of 2,000 professionals at or near retirement age found 70% need to work to pay for those basic necessities, and then the 60% who just love it. What are a few of the things that the survey found, aside from just calling Louisiana the seventh worst? Well, Wyoming is the best state for older workers. Kentucky is the worst. In Hawaii, 65% of households with someone older than 65 earning more than $50,000 per year. That's the highest rate in the country, is 65%. We're at 60. They're at 65% with somebody in each household over 65 still working. There are 8 states that collect no income tax. Therefore, they are going to rank higher in some of the metrics. The 8 states around that collect no income tax: Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. California, by the way, has the highest median income tax rate. So what went into Wyoming's score? Best overall score in their analysis, ranking the top half. They ranked in the top half for every category except for life expectancy, where they were 30th, so just outside of the top half. The no income tax plays a huge role in this. More than 98% of those over 65 on Medicare, which gives Wyoming the advantage. Meanwhile, instead of looking at just the seniors that are in the workforce, another study has come out finding Louisiana to be the number 6 best state, or least impacted, I should say, by America's labor shortage crisis. We're reading stories about this all the time, about folks cannot find good labor, folks cannot find enough people to get to work. Where's it hitting the hardest? Where people can't find labor, people can't find folks to work? The worst 10 in the country: Washington, D.C., imagine that. Nebraska, New Hampshire, Vermont, Utah, South Dakota, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, and Georgia can't find people to work. Meanwhile, the states least impacted by the labor shortage crisis: number 1, Hawaii, least impacted state with 0.41 job openings per unemployed person. Next up comes New York, then California, then Nevada, then Connecticut, then us here in Louisiana at 0.52 job openings per unemployed person. Then New Mexico, Arizona, New Jersey, and Illinois rounding things out. I think I want more on this one. I think I want to learn more about the impacts of the labor shortage. I'm going to hang on to this one for a later show. What makes Louisiana so resilient in that regard? Especially when you look across the board, there's so many job openings right now. There's work available basically everywhere. And yet it appears it's worse elsewhere in the country, like 44 other states and D.C. Yeah. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show, is going to join us. We are going to keep it with the lists and talk about the best places in Baton Rouge to work. That's coming up next on Talk 107.3. Let me go. I'm going to go let Patrick in. Looks like they've got like 7 different lists. 7 different lists? Yeah, it's weird. Well, maybe more than that. So, look. Best places to work. Best places to work, right?
Yeah, 26.
Uh-huh.
This is the annual business report?
Best places to work.
That's starting for one.
Uh-huh.
Oh, companies with 50 to 249 U.S. employees.
Okay.
Companies with 15 to 49 U.S.
Gotcha.
employees.
See, I wasn't reading that. All right. And then we go again.
250 or more.
250 more. And then,
Overall.
all right. So let's stick with the overall winners.
So I was listening to your little segment about Louisiana ranking and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how retired people's gross income is blah, 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 but they say that's a bad thing. Over 50,000, but
Yeah.
that's a bad thing because they're still working.
Yeah.
Retired people have probably passive income or investment income. Are they counting
So
that?
I don't think they're counting that. It was a
So
very
this is strictly W-2 wages from
it was a
working?
very poorly prepared article.
Okay. Because I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, why? Okay, so if they're retired and they're making 50 grand more, wouldn't that be a good thing?
Right.
You know, because
No. They're not retired. They're just senior citizens. So it's not passive income. They're not retired.
Well, it still could be passive income. They're just, go and check on whatever it may be,
Yeah.
or it's dividends, blah blah.
The fact
blah.
that they have to stay in the workforce, they're saying, is a bad thing. So.
Gotcha.
Morning, T-Bob.
Morning. Man, can I go work for the Baton Rouge Youth Coalition? I get 25 paid holidays.
How many do we have?
Are y'all on here?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
number?
let me see. You're looking at the overalls?
Yeah.
We are on page 3 of the overalls. We're number 43. Paid holidays. They list us at 10. That doesn't sound right.
Christmas? You get Christmas Eve off?
Yeah, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving. So that's 6.
Mm-hmm.
Easter's a Sunday. That's not. I believe we get Martin Luther King Day off,
Mardi Gras?
or we can flex that to Mardi Gras.
Okay.
Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. That's 10.
10.
Yeah, that's 10. How many more do you need?
25, so they probably get Indigenous Peoples Day, formerly known as Columbus Day.
It's still known as Columbus Day.
They probably go along with all the bank holidays. Okay.
Yeah.
And you got some people that get 7. I don't think I've ever flipped through a business report.
I can't. It's
just advertisements with
well.
2 with 2 articles.
I know. And the whole thing, the book of lists and the company profiles and all that stuff. It's I'm hard pressed to buy in the whole idea that any of it was genuine. You're buying yourself
Probably high schools. St. Joseph's, Catholic high.
They better be number
That's
one.
a shock.
Their asses better be number one.
St. Joseph's beats Catholic.
Damn right they do. Have you seen the college campus that is St. Joseph's Academy? Okay.
College campus.
It's ridiculous, dude. We couldn't be happier. That place is fantastic.
I actually saw Julio the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julio's pretty great.
Eating some dinner at that sushi place on Perkins. And
Ichiban?
Ichiban, yes.
Love Ichiban.
So good.
I need to get a sushi place sponsoring the show. There's like 5 or 6 different places in town that I love.
Need to be.
Actually, the one that Christy and I go to for sushi, they're still not open for in-person dining. They're still to-go only. Tiger Sushi on Sherwood. Sneaky good, by the way. What?
This company's got 15,000 employees.
Who?
Amadices?
Amedicis.
There you go.
638, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to welcome in Patrick Grimion. He's the host of the Patty G Show. He joins us every Thursday to talk a little business, a little culture, and the like. Patrick, what's happening, man?
Good morning, Brian. Good morning. Today is not my day for pronunciation.
We got to
pronunciation.
We got to clue the audience in because this was during the break. If you're on YouTube, you might have heard it. It was kind of mumbled a little bit.
I wasn't sure.
You ever hear a name over and over and over again, but then when you see it in print, it looks completely different? That just happened to Patrick during the break.
It's an honest mistake.
So we're talking about the Business Report's best places to work, which guaranteeing number 43 on the list. I think we're way too low there. If we're not top 20, something's wrong.
Got to vote better next year.
You know what? I filled out my survey.
Well,
you know.
Get the other
But below guarantee on that list,
94 people to vote for.
Below guarantee on that list is a company with 15,000 employees, and Patrick goes, "Who's Amadices?" So it's Amedicis.
Medicine.
Oh,
I got it
golly,
now.
it's spelled weird.
It is spelled weird.
It's just one of those ones where, like, you see it written down, it doesn't look like what it is when you say it out loud. Okay, so the Business Report comes out with their top 50 overall places to work.
60.
Top 60?
I think so.
I stopped counting after 43. It is top 60. Hey, shout out to BRPT Lake rounding things out.
There you go.
They bring you the
BRPT.
outside in every day. Now, so they got the top 60 places to work overall. They've got it broken down for smaller companies as well, which I think is cool because it's
fair.
more inclusive.
Right.
But here's where I want to go with this, Patrick. They're looking at, okay, you get your list of the number of employees, right?
Right.
And then number of paid holidays, and then they got check marks or check boxes to fill in to find out where you're at on these other ones, okay? Do you get referrals for new hires? Is there profit sharing? Is there a 401k retirement plan? Matching contributions? Diversity programs? Paid time off for volunteering? Wellness programs? Health club membership? Career development programs? And sustainable green practices? Which, interestingly enough, here at Guarantee, we have sustainable green practices checked off. I don't know how a radio station wouldn't be green. We're sustainably green. We get Guarantee. We got the radio stations. We got Gator Works. We got Government Taco, which you can get fresh greens on your Magna Carrot.
Exactly.
For sure. I don't know. We're not. It's like it does not apply. We're not. We're carbon neutral.
I mean, all
here
those,
on Talk
all
107.3.
All the paper you print out for all your articles, maybe you can get an iPad or something.
They probably don't need to come in.
That's only in like at least 2 pieces of paper.
Yeah, no, totally.
And you throw them up and you put them in the blue recycling bin.
We do
over
recycle.
here.
Actually, you know what? We have recycling bins throughout. So yes, we are green.
There's your green initiative.
To be
right
sure.
there.
But here's the thing, though. Are they looking at the right criteria for the best places to work? Because I would throw a few more in there that I don't see listed. Referrals is good. If you're looking at, hey, I work here and I love it. I'd like to have my friends work here and maybe catch a little finder's fee on the back end. That's great.
Yeah, and so you've got 11 different categories that they're basing the best places to work off of, 6 of which are monetary in value.
Yes, which is important. Very, very important. The 6 of which that are monetary in value, paid holidays.
Right.
Okay, so you got that. You got profit sharing, which we don't have here at Guarantee, although it's weird because you can earn money in a number of different ways.
Yeah, there's different avenues for y'all to get it,
that's kind of a jacked up category because it's going to apply differently to different types of fields. All right, so you got paid holidays, profit sharing, 401k, which we have, match with contributions, paid time off for volunteering, and what are you counting as the other one? You said 6? I'm missing one.
Let me see. Where was it? I thought I heard 6. Okay, never mind. It's 5. So it's the other way around.
All right. So you got 5 of them that are monetary in value, but to me, the monetary in value isn't. It's a good factor, sure, but at the same time, though, where's longevity of your average employee? I mean, if
How
you're,
long have people been with the company?
right,
Yes.
right, which is one of the stellar things about Guaranteed. Like I'd like to see replicated in a number of other businesses. If I'm looking to find out what's the best place to work, I want the place where no one's willing to leave.
What's your turnover rate?
Right.
You know, do you have 6 people, but they're rotated every single year?
Right.
Or do you have 100 people where 60 of them have been with the company for 10 plus years?
Right.
Those are the companies I think have the best places to work. Is why else having people left? If you're truly miserable, you're going to leave your job.
Exactly.
You know,
regardless of the pay.
right? You're going to go find somewhere else, especially now, whenever everybody is looking for somebody. to come work.
With so many job openings right now, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Even though there's a report that says Louisiana is the 6th best for least impacted by the labor shortage.
I want to see those metrics.
Yeah, so do I. I set that report aside to follow up on it next week. We're going to have somebody on to talk about that.
Yeah, but another thing with this is it's survey filled out, right? So the employees have to fill it out.
Yeah.
So now are you getting an accurate testimony from the people? Is every employee filling this out, and that's what you're basing it off of, or just the ones that are happy with where they're working?
Or just the ones that aren't?
Touche.
Yeah,
Touche.
right? I mean, seriously, if you've ever worked in the service industry, you know a satisfied customer is a lot less likely to give you a positive report than a dissatisfied customer is to give you a negative report.
Yeah.
You're more likely to complain than to encourage. So would the same be true here? I don't think. I think your end is right, that you're going to get the rah-rah end of it because the boss is going to send out an email that says, hey, fill out the survey, which we got once. It's like, hey, if y'all don't mind.
They're not going to push it.
Right.
Because then when they're pushing it doesn't feel organic, right?
Right.
It
But
feels
how many
forced.
bosses are forcing it, though?
That would be a good question. How many times was the email resent to the people who had not completed the survey?
Yeah.
And how many people filled out the survey just because they wanted to get ranked on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were people compensated for the survey?
Oof. No. Now I kind of want to be compensated.
Let's take a time out of your day, and if the employer wants 15,000 people to do it, hey guys, we'll give you a $10 gift card somewhere if you fill out the.
That's a lot of money.
Well,
that's a lot of money, or we'll put you in a raffle for whatever.
Yeah, just something.
Yeah,
you get another paid day off, whatever. I think that's cheaper to do the $10 gift card though.
So, which of these, aside from longevity of employment, which I don't know if you could qualify that in a survey, I guess how many years have you worked there?
Yeah, I think how many years have you worked there would be a simple question that you could then take those answers off of it.
What are some other metrics you would look at?
Flexible work.
Oh, yes.
Flex work.
Yes.
And that can come from hours of the day you're working to in-person versus remote. Mm-hmm. They're not even evaluating one of the biggest playing factors of the last 2 years.
Right.
Were people able to work remotely? Did they have to come into the office? Did they feel safe coming into the office? Were the measures that the company was taking effective and useful and made the employees feel like they were being taken care of?
Just general safety, you would think, would factor into this somewhere as well. I mean, when you think of the number of plants we have up and down the river, general safety should probably factor into it too. I'll tell you what, let's push pause right here. Let's push pause on the topic so we can take a quick break. We'll check your money now. We'll check traffic. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue talking about the best places in Baton Rouge to work. We'll give you who the Business Report has as their top 10. But this is one of those ones that I think a lot of people in business, they look to this issue of the Business Report every single year. So, quick break. Coming right back on Talk 107.3 FM.
Ooh, Byron gave another pretty good metric. Paid health insurance.
It's in there.
It is?
I thought that's what matching contributions meant.
That's matching 401k or IRA contributions.
No, you got 401k retirement plan and then matching contributions.
Yeah, matching your contribution to your IRA. So, like, if you put up, like, some companies will be like, we'll match 3% of your IRA contribution. Or we'll match up to 3%. Some companies match up to 10%. So if you say I want 10% of my salary or my pay to go to my IRA,
Gotcha.
they'll match it. At least that's my understanding of matching contributions.
Oh. I just glossed right past it.
Yeah. No, 401k is they invest for you within their own retirement package. Like your bigger companies will have their own 401k. Everybody else say no, do your own simple IRA.
Hang on.
This is your LSU update brought to you by LSUshop.net. This week, LSU football gets set to take on the Kentucky Wildcats in Lexington Saturday night with a 6:30 kickoff. Today, Coach O meets
It's a week old.
I know.
Then Wednesday night, it's your turn for the Ed Ogeron Show live from TJ Ribs. The show starts at 7
Most of that.
Join us live or get
It's a week and 2 days old. What's up, Clinton? What's happening, dude?
What up, Clinton?
I got no screen on YouTube, but I've got sporadic comments at best.
What do you have?
Oh.
Like, what is it showing you?
It's just I got to unpause it, but when I do, it gives me spinning circle. And then I got to close it all out and come back. Let me send an email real quick.
Yeah, you might want to get that fixed.
That's a week and 2 days old.
Yeah, that's pretty old.
Yeah. 15 seconds? Okay, well, come back to me then.
All lanes are open on I-10 after a breakdown slowed things down around Perkins this morning. So if you're watching the last check of traffic,
I want to know the 25 holidays the Baton Rouge Youth Coalition gets.
Bro,
That's what I want to know.
that's a holiday every other week.
Yeah. That's a holiday almost, every pay period, every biweekly pay period if they're doing biweekly.
Yeah, hang tight. Don't forget to download the all-new Talk 1073 mobile app presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Listen live, listen on demand, or set an alarm to wake up with this show. The Talk 1073 mobile app presented by Gregory Ricks and Associates. Oh, also, programming note, tonight at 7, Catholic High Football is going to be right here on Talk 1073 FM when they take on McKinley.
Risk management.
deal with the economic fallout of the pandemic have begun to expire. Mortgage lenders began the foreclosure process on 25,209 properties in the summer quarter.
Keith Brown.
On a year-over-year basis, it's a 67% increase from the summer of 2020. Mortgage data firm Adams says the states with the largest number of new foreclosures are California, Texas, Florida, New York, and Illinois.
Oh, God, eat my butthole.
Reserve officials could begin reducing the extraordinary help they've been providing to the economy by as soon as mid-November, according to minutes from the central bank.
Oh, good. CBS News just let me know they couldn't get me a reporter for the 625 segment this morning.
625? That's comforting.
It's nice to know that it's 635.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so over them, man. It's, you know. Like, literally, the only reason to keep them is that tone that starts off the news. Bum, 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 bum. At this point, their reporting is spotty. They're not helping out locally. Oh. Byron says matching contributions always refers to retirement programs. Well, I just glossed over it anyway, so I don't care.
That's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, longevity feels like it should have been a number one.
I don't know if I would have put it as number one, but it definitely should have made the top 10. Top 5, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important. No. Charlotte's work is on here.
Oh, where's she work?
Sigma Consulting Group, 23rd.
$6.52. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Patrick Grimmie in the house, going to join us for another 7.5 minutes or so. We're talking about the best places to work in Baton Rouge. The Business Report puts out their list every single year, and I look forward to it every year just to see who's out there and what they might be doing differently. It's always a nice reassurance when you see your company's name on the list as well. I got to tell you, though, as I run down the list, there are two categories where guarantee doesn't show up, and that's the profit sharing, which we talked about. It's kind of a jacked up way to ask it, but I get how you'd make it a blanket question. That's fine.
Yeah.
But the other one is career development programs. That couldn't be further from the. We don't have any kind of design career development program, but you name me the business that's on this list that isn't encouraging their employees to grow, to learn, to continue their education, to find new ways to train and do new things, and it just that seems like a constant in the workplace. Am I so immersed in it that I can't recognize what it actually is?
Well, so do they offer to cover courses for continuing education or furthering your education?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Then I'm not sure why they wouldn't get under that program.
But when it comes to career development, let's say you're Jake, right? He just got here. He's got a million different ways he can learn and move up the ladder. That's career development, is it not? Promotion from within?
I would define it as career development. And also, with Guarantee, they're pushing all of y'all to grow your own personal brand.
Very, very much so.
That in and of itself is career development.
Yes.
They say, hey, we'll push you, we'll promote you across our channels, and, in return, it's the same thing comes out of it. So I would 100% put them as career development as that box being checked.
The Business Report lists Walters, Papillon, Thomas, and Cullens as their number one overall. What's crazy to me is those little check boxes we were talking about. They're missing two of them. I would think whoever's going to finish number one in the rankings here
should have all of them checked.
Every single one of them checked.
Well, and so that's, again, I'm curious as to how the metrics, how are they determining who meets number one? The number of responses?
Yeah.
Or how people ranked them? I don't know what the survey looks like. Was it 1 to 10 you're ranking on a scale? Or was it?
Well, it was strongly agreed, that sort of thing, where you had that range within.
So then maybe all of their employees filled out the form and also put strongly agree for everything.
Okay, so you were talking about, they don't offer new hire referrals, and they don't offer up matching contributions.
Right, and then another metric we were talking about on the YouTube Live was paid health insurance.
Paid health insurance, I guess that's a given at this point.
I don't think so.
Really?
Not every employer is paying for full health insurance coverage. Now they may be covering some premiums, but depending on the plan you have, depending on the size of the organization, but they're not all giving you, hey, we're covering all of your health insurance.
Yeah.
At least not to lots of the companies I've spoken with that have been on the show.
So after Walters, Papillon, Thomas, Cullens, LLC, comes Weimar Federal Credit Union, then the Baton Rouge Youth Coalition.
Right, with 25 paid holidays.
25 paid holidays. They have 19 employees.
So what I think also is unique is the section about their company culture.
Yeah, no, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
But here's the thing, though. Number 3 on the list with Baton Rouge Youth Coalition, and I don't know exactly what that is, 25 paid 25 paid holidays, no new hire referrals, no profit sharing. They do have a 401k, do not have matching contributions. They do have diversity programs. They do not have paid time off for volunteering. They do have wellness programs. They do not have a health club membership. They do have career development programs and sustainable green practices. But you look at that little matrix right there of what they do and don't have, they're missing half of them.
Yeah. And the one below them is missing even more. Number 4 is missing even more of those. I think it comes down to the impact of the company workplace,
so
the workplace culture. I think that's probably why they rank so high.
So let's address this then, because now we're getting to where maybe the Business Report's priorities aren't off, but a number of employees' priorities are off. Because when you go back to number 1 on the list for Walters, Papillon, Thomas, Cullens, LLC, workplace culture, it says homemade baked goods for the office multiple times a week.
South Louisiana, that could be a kicker.
We're all pulling minimum wage, but the head of HR baked cookies.
Have you ever been upset eating a cookie?
No.
Well?
No, you're right. That totally beats being comfortable paying my bills. Pumpkin decorating competition?
Again, have you ever been upset decorating a pumpkin?
Bro, yes.
Okay.
Have you ever not been unbelievably frustrated making a jack-o'-lantern?
Yes.
You go to like you carve out the nose, and then when you carve out the mouth, that little area in between the upper lip area
Becomes
always
flimsy.
falls out. Oh.
Need toothpicks in there.
And then it's rotten like 2 days later, no matter how fresh you buy your
easily.
pumpkin or how
Easily.
close to Halloween you buy your pumpkin. It's rotten 2 days later.
So you buy it on the 31st.
So what, you're spending all of Halloween carving a pumpkin?
Yes.
Can't do it on the 30th. That's the open date where everybody schedules everything in town. What else do they have? We got 2 minutes left. Hell.
Someone says bring your dog to work. Company outings.
Skits at the annual Christmas party. I guess that's when you get to roast the boss.
Like The Office.
Yeah.
Boss sits in the chair with a cymbal on the top and a cymbal and a drum.
Yeah. We were supposed to talk about the video gaming space as well, but we're going to run out of time.
I know.
So-
And that's a huge thing that's happening for Baton Rouge.
Well,
New Orleans.
New
really.
Orleans. Possibility Space is the name of the company. But no, you say it's everywhere in Louisiana, really.
Because they are remote, they have a physical location in New Orleans.
Right.
But yeah, everywhere in Louisiana is going to be huge.
We're
Again,
growing in the space big time.
This is another article that comes out that pushes the envelope for how great and how up and coming Louisiana and Baton Rouge is, especially in the tech sector.
We both missed one, and shout out to Colton on YouTube. Student loan reimbursement.
Yes.
Bro.
Well, and that could be your career development programs. They're going to pay for you to go to
Sure.
school.
Yeah. You know what? That might fold in.
That
You're
might
right.
fold in. I don't know. But yes, definitely a good one. Hey, we'll pay back your loans, especially for like law firms.
What's on the Patty G show this week?
Patty G Show, we got a Struma Brewery.
I've heard good things.
You gotta
This is
go.
the one that's like way out of Highway 30.
It's not way out there. It's 15 minutes from LSU.
15 minutes of Highway 30 from LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 minutes from, about 25 minutes from Mid-City Baton Rouge.
I've heard it's
But
a
it's family friendly. You can bring
it's a glorious
all
place.
ages.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
like we're doing my dad's birthday party there next week.
Dude, cool.
So our whole family, my little niece and nephew are going to be there. You can pet animals, you can drink brews, you can enjoy some great food.
There you go. You could pet some brews and drink some animals out of the Streamer Brewery. He's Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show. Get it everywhere you get your podcast. Also part of the Saturdays on Demand lineup right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Brian.
Here comes CBS News. You know who does an underrated job with paying for college?
Who?
Like, the job they do is phenomenal, but they never get credit for it. Voluzo.
Mm-hmm.
That's McDonald's has put more people through college than any other entity in the country.
Yeah, and now they've got a big competitor with that, Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Who Amazon will not only pay you to go to the courses, get the college degree, but then essentially, in a nutshell, paying you to leave Amazon to go work at your dream job. They're paying you to go through college, and, then you quit.
Right.
So they're paying you essentially to leave Amazon.
Well, the hope would be to retain you and move you into more of a management position. And
No, so they just put an advertisement out or a commercial out of somebody going through med school
that's cool.
and then becoming a nurse.
That's awesome.
But they're also saying Amazon made this possible. So they get that in there on the back end. Yeah, overnight and out-of-town employee hookups on retreats and seminars, Byron.
That is not going to be a listed category.
Do they pay for hotel rooms? Actually, I think that's part of their wellness programs, Byron.
The health club membership kind of baffles me because I've never, I appreciate that we have one.
Yeah.
We're at the Y. I've been paying for Planet Fatness forever when I didn't have to be. Although, I went to the Y over there of Old Hammond at, close to O'Neill. Not thrilled with the weights situation. I might be right back at Planet Fatness.
Really?
Yeah.
O'Neill.
Yeah.
In Old Hammond Highway?
Old Hammond Highway, getting close to O'Neill.
Oh, that's on the other side of Airline, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why. Never on that side of town.
Yeah. I need to go check out the one that's on Foster at Government, the A.C. Lewis YMCA.
We used to go there when we lived on Lobdell. I don't know what it looks like now. I was over.
I was in there the other day. That's where I filled out all the membership stuff. It's fine. I'm in there all the time for basketball with the girls and everything because it's the closest one to Mercy, so that's the one we're going to practice at.
It's convenient.
It is. It is. But I got to start bringing clothes with me again because I'm not going to go all the way out to Sherwood and come all the way back down here and then go all the way back home again.
Yeah, just shower in the locker room.
Yeah, but I got no problem with that. I was doing that at Planet Fitness for a while when I wasn't able to get home.
Yeah.
My window of opportunity was to the gym and back when I was doing my show and Moscona's show. Golly, that I didn't think the number of miles I put on my car just up and down Florida Boulevard. Anyway.
Anywho,
I was going to run down all of the top 10, and then I started thinking about it. They probably Business Report would probably prefer not to be like that revealing. Like, is it stealing their content? I mean, I'm giving attribution throughout.
We do their articles all the time, and we always lead with the Baton Rouge Business
Who was
Report.
you said number 4? Number 4 is JCW.
You're also providing your own take. You're not just
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not sitting there reading. We're giving an opinion on something that was published.
bro.
I mean, if that was the case,
fair use.
yeah. If that was the case, they wouldn't. let
How
us
is
use any of their
JCW up to 18?
Action channels exist on YouTube, and they get paid.
JCW is up to 18 employees, man. That's fantastic.
JCW?
John Williams is video guy. He's over there on Perkins, right there by it's either Kleinert or Terrace. I think it's Terrace. Perkins at Terrace. He basically started by himself, just filming shit, and he's got a great video production company.
Hey,
I mean,
power to him.
yeah,
That takes a lot.
yeah,
It takes a lot to get that stuff going.
Yeah.
Expensive equipment to buy, and especially finding people that can film and edit. That's the tricky part. But at the end of November.
not for profit should not be listed in this.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know.
You're working there.
Yeah,
You're paid.
yeah, I know.
It's a job.
I know. It just feels weird. They're held to a different standard. They have a different. There's different measuring sticks. They should have their own list. Actually, that's how this list should be broken down.
Sectors.
Yeah. I mean, because if I'm in finance, but I see that nonprofits, or if I'm in finance, but I see that well, JCW. If I'm in finance, but I see that video editing, well, I can't really leave what I'm doing to go over there, or vice versa.
I don't think the list is established to convince people to leave their current employer.
No, it's just to pit us against each other to see who's better. The Pangburn Group has Indian holiday celebrations. What do we have? What's our workplace culture? I don't even remember this part of the survey. Company president is constant cheerleader, there to support employees, build them up, and recognize them for hard work and dedication. That is 100% true. And you know what? To me, that's all the battle. Flynn he walks the halls every single day, reminding us to put our masks on. he walks the halls every single day, asking what we're up to, just checking in. If I post about my, okay, I haven't done Muya yet. Post about my girls playing basketball. I asked how the game was last night, that sort of thing. It's just knowing that it's personal and not business. It is business, but knowing that it's also personal.
Yeah.
It's no brick wall I wouldn't run through. So
That's why you're 43rd next year.
should be higher.
42.
Y'all going to LSU 100 on Friday?
Do what?
Y'all going to LSU 100 tomorrow?
I don't know. I'll see. I'll call you. 706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show, for hopping on board to talk about the best places in Baton Rouge to work. That workplace culture column, we did not have enough time to get into all that. That was where it was going to get a lot more fun. Any Hoosers, we are into hour number 2, and we've got a lot of ground to cover in this hour as well. We'll have the outside end, the back end of the hour. State Senator Franklin Foyle is going to join us in our next segment to talk about how you spend $1 billion. Oh, yeah, we're going full on Brewster's Millions this morning. We get to play the role of Montgomery Brewster, except you don't get a larger inheritance on the back end for spending everything on the front end. That being said, We're going to talk with Frank LaFoil. We found out the state's got $1 billion surplus, $1 billion unspent dollars. What do you do with it? You sit on it? Do you find a way to give it back to the taxpayers? We'll talk with Frank LaFoil in our next segment. We will also have Crimestoppers at 7:35 this morning. It is Red Ribbon Week in the schools. I believe that's what we're talking about in Crimestoppers. That's all coming your way throughout the hour. This hour. Hey, not too early to start making your lunch plans now. Text your friends now. Let's meet up in Mooyah. That's texting noise. Let's meet up in Mooyah. Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes on Segan, just north of Industriplex, or on Bluebonnet at Highland Road. I tell you every day about the fresh ingredients. Freshly cut vegetables, freshly baked buns. They've got the certified Angus beef. I don't go into enough detail about the milkshakes. The Texas pecan milkshake, I believe, is off the table now. They're on the pumpkin. Everything's pumpkins in October, right? They've got the pumpkin milkshake going on this month. Different new milkshake every month, though there are the staples that are up there all the time, like the cookies and cream. Yeah, pumpkin pie shake is going on right now all month long at Mooyah. You get the cookies and cream, the vanilla, the chocolate, strawberry. You know the normal routine. Their cookies and cream milkshake might be the most underrated milkshake in town. Check them out online, Mooyah.com, Mooyah.com. You can get their menu there, but swing by. If you don't have lunch plans yet, which it's only 7:08, you shouldn't have your lunch plans yet. Make them now and go swing by Mooyah. Burgers, fries, and shakes on Segan, just north of Industriplex, or Bluebonnet at Highland. All right, time for top stories and trending. Let's go. The appeals process has officially started for nursing home owner Bob Dean, who was under investigation following a mass evacuation to a makeshift shelter ahead of Hurricane Ida. The appeal was filed last week by Dean's attorney, John McClendon, to the Louisiana Department of Health. So far, Dean is the focus of nearly a dozen lawsuits tied to the evacuation to the warehouse in Independence. State health officials shut down the warehouse on September 2nd. McClendon said attempts were already being made to move patients when the state came in. He says the evacuation plan was approved by LDH, but admits they, quote, may have gone over their capacity. They may have gone over their capacity levels, quote, a little bit. He said when they realized the hurricane was shifting, they decided to put the patients in the strongest of the three buildings they had. Department of Health said at this time there's no timeline on when the hearing will be held. In the ongoing fight against flooding, East Baton Rouge Parish Mayor President Sharon Weston Broom's administration is proposing a stormwater utility fee to provide dedicated funds for drainage maintenance and improvements. EBR Assistant Chief Administrative Officer Kelvin Hill unveiled the fee proposal to the Metro Council Wednesday during a drainage presentation. Currently, the city parish has a backlog of maintenance needs totaling hundreds of projects. 36% of our backlog tends to be in roadside drainage type issues, Hill said. Those roadside drainage issues, cave-ins, and requests for debris removal, they tend to require most of the available drainage maintenance manpower, he said. So, more fees, like we didn't already pay for it. Gas prices are on the rise as pandemic restrictions ease and the economy returns to normal. Gas prices are trending upwards throughout the U.S., and that is true here as well. In Baton Rouge, gas costs have gone up an average of 10.6 cents per gallon in the past week. Prices have not been this high since 2014. Gas experts, however, say this is normal. What goes up will surely come back down. Greg Upton from LSU, he's an associate research professor over at LSU. He says right now, futures markets are indicating that prices will actually go down in the latter part of the year into next year. Alleged killer Matthew Meir opened fire on police, then threw his murder weapon into a bayou when he was cornered at an abandoned house after a day-long manhunt Saturday, according to newly released arrest documents. The record said a Louisiana State Police SWAT unit found Meir under the carport at the abandoned property along Hushitu Road late Saturday night. Meir allegedly fired 4 rounds at troopers as the Bearcat made its way down the driveway. He retreated into the house, fired more rounds before fleeing out the back door into a wooded, swampy area. threw his gun away into Bayou Manchac. The gun was retrieved. A dive team found the discarded .40 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun in the bayou. Arrest record said that weapon was stolen in Livingston Parish at the start of Mears crime spree Saturday morning, later used in the killings of both Pamela Adair and Master Trooper Adam Gobert. East Baton Rouge Parish is on pace to shatter its record for deaths this year. In 2020, the parish saw 242 overdose deaths, 136 homicides, 548 COVID deaths. All of those numbers are expected to be surpassed by the end of 2021. Overdoses are not the only problem. This week, the parish is standing at 125 homicides and 505 COVID deaths as well. With the increase in all the death investigations since 2020, Dr. Bo Clark's coroner's office is getting a grant from the Pennington Foundation. They'll provide $75,000 for them to hire a new death investigator. Those are your top stories. Here's a look what's trending this morning. Actor William Shatner, widely known for playing a space explorer on television's Star Trek series, took the leap into the final frontier in real life yesterday morning when he joined 3 other passengers for the planned launch into space from West Texas. The actor who brought the fictional character Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise to life for millions of Star Trek fans was invited by Jeff Bezos' space travel company Blue Origin to participate in New Shepard's 18th mission. Shatner joined Dr. Chris Bashuzin, Glenn DeVries, and Audrey Powers on the quick trip to space and back. 90 years old, oldest man in space was William Shatner yesterday. I know everybody's making the James Kirk references and the Star Trek jokes, but there's no way you can convince me that when that rocket got 66 miles in the air and 90-year-old William Shatner was at 66 miles off the Earth, he didn't look out and blurt for all to hear. Denny Crane. That's your top stories and trending. Quick break. When we come back, State Senator Franklin Foyle joins us next. Denny Crane. Oh, how long is this break? Okay, I don't have time. All right, when we go to the news at the bottom of the hour, I got to run downstairs to print my notes. Got to print my notes for Crimestoppers. It's the problem when I get all my notes ahead of time. Yeah, there's a vending machine downstairs. Why? What did you want? You want a Go Slim bar? Okay. Oh. 716, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Moore's with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So, interesting little experiment happening on the other side of the glass as we speak. Heading into the break, Jake was asking, do we have a vending machine here? And yes, we do, down in the basement, Jake. We do. But Jake missed breakfast this morning. So I went and grabbed him a Go Slim bar. So he's going to be a guinea pig. Eat the bar. Actually, I brought you two of them. I brought you a caramel nut and a Rocky Road. I want a full report when we do this day in history.
Done.
All right. Don't crinkle the wrapper while the mic's on, though. It gets really loud and distracting for the audience. All right.
Okay.
Hey, the state recently found out, or we recently found out the state's got a $1 billion surplus. This is in connection to a lot of the funds that came through because of COVID last year and a number of other sources as well. What do we do with it? Joining us now is State Senator Franklin Foyle to talk about it. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me this morning. I'm doing well.
Always love having you on. Appreciate you having you on. So, this money predominantly comes from COVID funds, right?
Well, it's a combination of things. Part of it's COVID funds, and then part of it's just the COVID funds stimulated the economy. The economy did much better than the economists predicted.
Yeah.
And so here we are with the surplus. So part of it's COVID funds, which are restricted on how you can spend them, and then the rest is surplus. And that's restricted also by the Constitution on how you can spend those dollars. You can't spend it on recurring revenue, but there are one-time expenditures where we can plug that into the budget.
What sort of restrictions are there, or not what sort of restrictions, what sort of areas are we able to, what sort of one-time expenditures are we able to use these for?
Well, about a third of the money is going to go to something called the Rainy Day Fund. A lot of people probably don't even know we have that, but it's a savings account. And in the Constitution, we are forced, when we have a budget surplus, to put money into the savings account. So when we have budget shortfalls, we have that money to help ease the budget deficits. So that's about a third of the money. The other area that I'm really going to push for is infrastructure. That's one-time dollars. We know in Baton Rouge and around the state we have terrible traffic issues. So I would like to see as much of these dollars put into one-time projects to improve our roadways, improve our bridges, and then there's also going to be a push to do some deferred maintenance around the state too, especially at the universities.
I was going to suggest that a group text with Sean Wilson is probably getting annoying at this point. I mean, he's got to be banging on y'all's door hourly.
No doubt about it, and we know that that's a huge need. We always hear about the budget backlog, but this is great news. To have this type of windfall where we can, plug these dollars into those very serious needs. And we actually in Louisiana have to have a balanced budget. So when we set our budget last year, we go on economist predictions. That's all we have to go on, and we try to spend the money based on what the economists say will come in. So in this case, boy, $1 billion, that's a big surplus.
Yeah, huge surplus. And again, we talked about it throughout the legislative session last year, throughout the budgeting process last year as well. The Revenue Estimating Conference throughout COVID has had an impossible job. And the thought that we have $1 billion budget surplus isn't missing the mark. It's missing the mark to the right side of missing the mark. Because if we were to wake up today saying we're in the red by $1 billion, that's a much worse scenario.
Oh, it'd be a serious scenario. So no, I'm very pleased if we have to miss the mark, and you're not going to get it exactly right. It's just predictions. This is the great place to be. Another big area also where the Constitution dictates this money be spent is coastal restoration. And boy, after Ida, it just once again it's a reminder of how important it is to build up our coastal areas and our barrier islands and all those things down in South Louisiana.
Okay, now you got a fight on your hands. Now because you're talking about two equally important priorities. You're talking about two equal areas where the money would serve Louisiana well. You're talking about two areas where we've shown results in the past. So when you look at, Hurricane Ida was the quintessential example of the money that's been spent on the levee protection system in the past proved to be unbelievably valuable through Hurricane Ida. That which was inside the levee districts versus outside showed all the difference in the world between water damage and wind damage. So how do you balance that? Do you just split the money down the middle, or because the backlog over at DOTD is every bit as huge as anything else?
There's no doubt about it, and even with a $1 billion surplus, that's not enough money to cover all of the needs. So we're just going to have to prioritize, and it's the legislative's job to take the money and allocate it where we think it's appropriate. But there's no doubt after Ida that the work we've done on coastal restoration was validated in my mind, because the levees did hold, and that's just as important as traffic and infrastructure, just as important as deferred maintenance in our universities. These were all priorities, and it's a good position to be in, and we're just going to have to prioritize. And I believe we'll probably spend some money in all of those areas based on the biggest needs.
How much of this is going to be tied into a federal fight? How much of this is going to be tied into, as we see Congress up on Capitol Hill battling over infrastructure, human infrastructure, broadband, and by the way, I know you're on the phone, so I air quoted human infrastructure. How much of this is going to be tied into what money we are or not going to get for other things based off of what Congress is going to spend on in the near future?
I don't know that that's going to be much of a factor because at this point we don't know what Congress is going to do. I've had several briefings recently, and it looks like if they pass something, there could potentially be a lot of money that would come to Louisiana for infrastructure and broadband and other infrastructure issues. So, we'll have to see. We have enough money right now, I believe, to make any match that would be required for the federal infrastructure money if it comes down. But at this point, as you know, we can't wait and make our plans based on what Congress may or may not do. We have to just move forward with what we have. And if Congress comes with something that provides money to improve our infrastructure here, that's great. And we'll allocate that when it comes down. There was some talk about the legislature going into a special session, anticipating that money coming from Washington. But right now, it doesn't look like it's going to come before the regular session.
The question is going to come up, and I know it's impossible. I know it's not allowed. But as taxpayers, anytime you see extra money in the state's coffers, the question is going to come up, can I have it back? I mean, as taxpayers, it's, if I walk into a place of business and overpay for something, they're going to give me my change. That's not on the table at all.
Well, I don't know yet, and that's a very legitimate question. When I first got elected to the legislature, we had some really big windfalls because of Hurricane Katrina, and I actually voted to repeal the Stelly tax, as most people in the legislature did. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we probably went too quick, and then we got some bad financial positions for several years. So I think it's something we always ought to be looking at. If we are having big windfalls, there's always something we need to look at to give money back to people who are paying taxes. I mean, the idea is we should set our budget based on what we need, and it should match the revenue. So that's something that we'll certainly look at. I don't know necessarily this year, but I think once we get past COVID, if we continue to have these surpluses, even though it's nice, I think it's very fair situation to look at: are we overtaxing?
Yes, especially when you look around the rest of the country and see how economically we compare with other states. When one of those metrics that they're always looking at is the income tax and sales tax as well. So we could break that down at a later time. You make a good point, though, about maybe we move too quickly with Stelly, in that do we know what we're looking at budgetarily next year? I mean, would this money be simply we hold on to it in case we run into a shortfall next year?
Well, right now, from what I understand, the budget predictions are still looking good next year, and probably a surplus again. I mean, one of the things that'll be on the table, I want to say maybe 2 years from now, the sales tax increase that we had voted on will expire, and then that will create a deficit. Maybe not a budget deficit, but there'll be a reduction, of course, in revenue when that goes away. But that will not go away until, I want to say, I think 2 years from now. So that's something we have to be planning for moving forward. But I think right now we pay it's 4.45, and I think that 0.45 will drop off. And that's the state portion of the sales tax.
Oh, okay, so does that apply to the rainy day fund? Like, if the money, the third that's put into the rainy day fund, do we sit on that until then, or do we have to plan accordingly to leave the rainy day fund where it's at?
Well, the Constitution requires us, if we have a budget surplus, to put money in the rainy day fund, and we cannot touch that money unless we have a budget deficit. So it actually keeps us straight by having these provisions. Us being the legislature, and I think it's a good thing that we put this money away. And look, after the Stelly tax was repealed and we had those budget deficits, we tapped into the rainy day fund to support higher education and health care. So it's good that we have that mechanism in place.
Yeah, and it's also good to know that the rainy day fund can actually be used on a rainy day. Having a rainy day fund that you just sit on is not a rainy day fund. That's just a collection.
Oh, absolutely. And there are specific triggers in place which trigger when you can actually use the money. And it's there for that particular situation. And, once again, we have economists that do their best at predicting where we're going to be. But at the end of the day, it's not an exact science. And, if you have serious budget shortfalls, higher education and healthcare are going to get hit first. And so it's nice to have that to support that if we need it.
State Senator Franklin Foyle is with us. Okay, so we talked about infrastructure. We talked about coastal restoration. Are there any other little odds and ends that are going to pop up?
I think those are going to be the top priorities. I mean, we always owe money to bolster up our pension system. That's another area you can put it in. It's not as exciting to put money there because people aren't seeing immediate results. But look, that's something we always have to be mindful of because we promise our people that work for us when you retire, there'll be retirement there. So that's another area we can look to spend the money. We can also pay down any debt with this money. But those are pretty much the areas that we're looking at. But I believe, once again, between coastal restoration and infrastructure and deferred maintenance, there'll be plenty of needs to be covered.
There's nothing fun in any of that, man. I'm looking for like legislative dune buggies or something. Like y'all gonna go down and get some matching go-karts or something. I don't know. I mean, it's $1 billion. Let's splurge, Franklin. Let's just blow it on something.
If we could just get get rid of the traffic problems in Baton Rouge, that would make me happy. I don't know if that'll happen in my lifetime, but I'm going to be pushing every time we have this money to make things better in that respect.
Well, and that's probably going to be priority one because you're talking about an amount that can make a significant difference. I mean, the state's annual budget for DOTD, I want to say, is $4.3 billion. Having, a couple $100 million dedicated towards that can make a significant difference, especially when you consider we have a $14 billion backlog.
Oh, it's huge, and there's some really big projects on the books for Baton Rouge that I think will improve things. One of the things I'm really excited about, but we need to get the money, and some of this money may go there, is the 4-lane Nicholson Drive all the way from downtown all the way to Ascension Parish. Which would be sort of a inner loop to sort of bypass the interstate. And so there's some big projects that we can use this money on that I'm excited about.
Yeah, and let's again. I go right back to the top where there's going to be equal servings. There needs to be equal servings between roads and coastal restoration because you just take a look at what happened in Grand Isle and Hurricane Ida and versus what happened just slightly inland from there. It just from a tourism standpoint to just basic quality of life in South Louisiana.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And, and with coastal restoration or flooding issues, and the flooding's not only on the coast. I mean, it's everywhere in the state these days. I mean, heck, Baton Rouge, it seems like every time we have a really serious rainstorm, you get nervous wondering about the storm. So that when I say infrastructure, that's money. Those are projects also that this money can be used to address. And it's a big issue nowadays, and people are very nervous about it.
Yeah, we are. In fact, we just learned in our last segment that we're about to get hit. We're possibly about to get hit with another fee to pay for that, which just baffles me. But that's neither here nor there, and that's not on the state legislature's agenda at all. That's this. Figuring out what to do with this money is, though. And we appreciate your time this morning. He is State Senator Franklin Foyle. Thanks for hopping on board, man.
Thanks, Brian. Take care. Bye-bye.
You do the same. Absolutely. It's a good spot to be in. To be sure. It's a good spot to be in. Although I'm proposing this. Sean Wilson from DOTD and Chip Klein from Coastal Protection Restoration Authority. Cage match. Winner take all. I don't want to see an even split. I don't want to see an amicable distribution of funds. Cage match, winner take all.
Gloves or no gloves?
No gloves. Oh, those like MMA half gloves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like fingerless gloves?
Yeah. Big
Nice.
time. Big time. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for Crimestoppers right here on Talk 107.3 FM. News, traffic, weather coming your way. All right, backstory. I was texting with Chip from CPR. Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
How's your girl?
Girls are good. We got one playing basketball over on the west side tonight. Got another one working out with Coach Zach today.
Good.
The boy is still an asshole. So,
Well,
yeah.
so, buddy, a great segment today.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably do the Joe Take back next Thursday to the motive for Saturday.
Okay. Yeah.
Third.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, hey, kill the mic for 1 second, please.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
How do you choose the right attorney? I give you the answers at murphylawfirm.com. Don't allow insurance companies to take advantage of you. Make the right decision. Don't leave money on the table. Visit murphylawfirm.com or call me, attorney Peyton Murphy, at 928-8800. Main office, Baton Rouge.
Take back control of your retirement. Hi, I'm Gregory Ricks. Join me at Sullivan Steakhouse on Corporate Boulevard in Baton Rouge for a wine, wisdom, and food experience. October 26th or Thursday, October 28th. We'll have great food, wine, and talk about strategies to help you win at retirement. To reserve your seat, GregoryRicks.com or call the office 225-522-4282. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Take 30 seconds to save thousands. Go to lacontractor.org and take 30 seconds to make sure the person or company who wants to work on your home or business is licensed by the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. How much is 30 seconds worth to you? That's lacontractor.org.
The holidays are alive and well with farm fresh Christmas trees now at the Home Depot and online at homedepot.com. Choose from a variety of trees.
My copy says I've got Tanya and Cecile. Are you Tanya or Cecile?
that's time, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You've been here before.
I have every year. With
Yes.
The red ribbon.
No Cecile.
That's no Cecile. We didn't need her anyway. So you're over at iCare?
Yes, sir.
Ran through y'all's parking lot on Monday.
Yeah.
I live right around the corner.
Okay.
So
Just stop by.
y'all aren't open when I'm there. That's but your parking lot has flatter ground than the sidewalk out in front. So yes, it does. So my wife and I will run a little loop, a little 3-mile loop. We'll go up towards Sherwood Middle Magnet,
Yep.
and then cross over, and then go up. Is it Sheraton is the first one?
Sure, that's correct. That's right.
And
That's
then
our back way.
yeah, and then we'll cross Sherwood coming back, and then come up Sheraton and cut through y'all's parking lot and head on home. So yeah.
Have a seat.
Y'all used to have basketball goals behind,
We did.
and they took them down at the beginning of COVID
Right. because
and
we
never
needed
put them
more-
back up.
We needed more spaces. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind.
Oh, that was for parking spaces?
Yes.
All right.
You got me now?
Yep.
Why I'm moving? You don't have to.
Because it's on wheels.
Well, I feel so much better. Oh, thank you.
Is that better?
Much. I thought I was going to
No, I got
topple over.
you. I got you.
Hot mic, hot mic.
This should be a hot mic. We're on YouTube, right there.
You too?
Every single morning.
Good. I watched the Facebook Live.
We got rid of Facebook. Facebook was problematic, to say the least.
Okay.
Facebook decided to start squashing us in their algorithm,
Okay.
as they did. We're up.
Okay.
So yeah.
Look at you.
Well,
Well, thank you for having us again. We really
always.
appreciate it.
No. Look forward to Red Ribbon Week. It's all month.
We celebrate it with iCare. We do prevention efforts throughout every month.
Okay.
As far as in the school system.
Okay.
And then we identify specific weeks and times.
738, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Yes, it is time for our Crime Stopper segment, and yes, it is Red Ribbon Week, though I'm learning right now that it's Red Ribbon Month all October long. Want to welcome in from iCare, Tanya Griffin. Tanya, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
No.
And I'm doing good today.
Always love having y'all on. Red Ribbon Week is something that I know my kids look forward to at their school,
Yes.
and I would assume this is the way it is throughout. It's a different tact when looking at drug awareness and just the overall campaign to stop them before they start.
Right. That's exactly correct.
So let's talk a little bit about the history surrounding Red Ribbon Week. How did this get started?
Yeah, so as you know, the eye care program is in East Baton Rouge Parish Schools, and we do drug, alcohol, and violence prevention. But Red Ribbon Week is a national initiative that started actually when our Drug Enforcement Administration agent, Kiki Camarena, was actually tortured and killed years ago. And so the Red Ribbon Initiative nationally is to recognize that we need our students off of drugs, off of alcohol, not even to start. And so this initiative is actually to spread awareness in our communities amongst our students and our community partners and parents.
I've never heard that story before. It started with a DEA agent.
Yes.
That is crazy.
Yes, that happened in the 1980s, and it's just something a lot of people don't know the backstory, but like you said, our students and our teachers look forward to it, but it does have a historical component to it.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
I'm like already mapping out the next season of Narcos in my head. Sorry, that was in very poor taste. You mentioned communities being involved. How might that have prompted schools to acknowledge Red Ribbon Week?
Well, our community partners are definitely involved. We're here with Crimestoppers this morning, and so we know that they have See Something, Say Something initiatives. We want our students to feel engaged, to be excited, and so we're pulling in bits and pieces of prevention in the communities as well as prevention education together. So locally, our schools are bringing in fire departments, we're bringing in police, we're bringing in community partners such as yourself, like the radio stations, to bring more awareness and give our kids some healthy and hopeful activities.
Specifically with Crimestoppers, what's their role?
So Crimestoppers has a major role with the eye care program. We enjoy them thoroughly. We are excited about not only Red Ribbon, but also bully prevention. So we want our students to feel comfortable speaking about anything that is uncomfortable, that is illegal, that can bring harm to individuals or families, such as having guns on a school campus, such as possibly having drugs and alcohol with underage participants, and just seeing something that is not right.
It is Red Ribbon Week, and I don't want to get too far off track, but I do have to ask, since you mentioned it. See something, say something, stand up against bullying, be a buddy, not a bully. Right. This has been a growing problem, a pervasive problem. I don't know that awareness is the sole solution. There's so much more that goes into it. But where are we at in our schools right now with bullying? I mean, we're a good, month and a half into the school year-ish. When you subtract out hurricane time. But where are we at right now? Is this a problem that's on the rise, on the decline? How's the fight against bullying?
I want to be honest with you.
Of course.
That's a really good question, Brian, and you have really good questions. You mentioned our collaboration with Crimestoppers.
Yes.
So when we look at our Crimestopper family, they help to bring awareness to the community, and we want to continue to bring that awareness throughout the school system and the classrooms. So to go to your great question, which is where are we? We are in a place of acknowledging the fact that it does happen, and also teaching our students, our parents, and our staff that there are things that fall under bullying and there are things that fall under teasing.
Yes.
So right now we're educating everybody on what that looks like, what that feels like, and if you have a question about what it is, go to somebody that you trust. Go to an eye care professional. If you're in a community and you see something, you say something, right? You bring awareness to that, and we start to glorify having those types of conversations at home around the kitchen table or in community groups like this.
Yes.
So does it happen? Yes. But we are taking a look at how to bring more acknowledgement to that and what to do when it does happen so that our students are feeling comfortable, they're able to learn. We're all readapting back into life in person.
Right.
And so with that, we have challenges that have come from being in a pandemic.
Yeah, and it's such a more round the clock world for that, as opposed to like back when I was in school. Once I got off the bus and started walking home, I was done with the school day. And there's a kid that got off at the bus stop before me, get bullied every day. Like once he got off the bus, he was done with it for the day.
Right.
But now you get home and it's right there waiting for you online. So as much as we're doing to raise the bar to stop it, the bar has been extended throughout many, many more hours. Anyway, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
We're talking about Red Ribbon Week.
That's
so
right.
while it takes a village to stop bullying, it also takes a village to get involved with this initiative as well.
That's right, it does. We are seeking community partnerships to continue with the eye care program.
Mm-hmm.
We love, again, working with Crimestoppers. Our police departments, Baton Rouge Police, our troopers are involved, and we appreciate everybody's service pouring into our students as well as our sheriff department. We actually went to a walk this past Monday, Faith in Blue. A great event, and we talked a lot about Red Ribbon initiatives and how our community partners can continue to visit our school systems and just pour into our students. All hands on deck.
Absolutely. Now, what's the difference between the month and the week? Are there specific events? Or there's something special going on during this week?
So nationally, Red Ribbon Week is recognized October 23rd through October 31st. Some days, right? And so we know a school week is consistent of 5 days. So a lot of things are happening October 29th in some of our schools. One local elementary is having a fun run. Another elementary school is having like a fall fest day, and they're tying it into not only breast cancer awareness, Red Ribbon, and Bully Prevention Month. October has a lot going on.
Yeah, it does.
But everybody's so excited to be back in person learning. We still have some virtual learners, and they are able to participate as well. But the actual month is celebrated via the eye care program because we do prevention education campaigns every month throughout the year.
Do we know why it's last week of October versus maybe the first week of school?
Not necessarily. I would like to say that I think the first week of school is extremely busy.
Yeah.
With a lot of different things, and that particular week is set aside, nationally.
I didn't know if there was more of a focus on maybe for the high school kids. Last week of October, they're all going out around Halloween.
Right.
It's getting to be around homecoming time.
Yeah.
It's about the time of the school year where kids are getting together with more temptations.
Right. I would believe that that's a good fit, and it gives everybody time to kind of like settle in and be prepared around that time. And a lot of, like you said, homecoming weeks are within that time frame.
Yeah.
So they're having Spirit Week, Red Ribbon Week, Bully Prevention, which is actually all month long, and then also just great activities for the fall.
And it all kind of ties in together. It's all about, squashing those temptations before they happen a little bit. Is the focus more on the high school students, or is it younger?
Believe it or not, it would seem that the focus is only on elementary students because of the types of activities that we hear more about. For instance, Wear Red Day, and this particular theme this year is Drug Free Looks Like Me.
By the way, this was coincidence.
I thought you did it for me. And
You know what? I'll go ahead and say that. Yeah, no, totally.
We planned it.
Totally did that.
Red for Red Ribbon, but
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. But I think that because we hear about the activities. So the Drug Free Looks Like Me is the theme for 2021, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because, our kids are feeling themselves. Everybody's on TikTok and, like you said, social media, which we have to be more
You on TikTok?
mindful of.
You on TikTok?
I don't personally have a TikTok, but I know how to TikTok.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
We'll talk about
I'm on TikTok.
I'm going to have to find you.
Please.
But we have our little kids, some of them are having sunglasses, whereas our high school kids don't necessarily want sunglasses with a theme on it.
Right.
But they are participating actively, and they're just as excited as our students. So, for instance, being comfortable in the skin that you're in is one of the days that a local high school has selected, and on that day they're wearing animal print.
Oh, wow.
But the message that they're posting, that they're presenting is, I'm comfortable who I am.
Yes.
And because I'm so comfortable with myself, I don't want to use drugs and alcohol to be somebody different. And I'm comfortable enough to have a conversation that's tough around whatever it is, whether it's grief, whether it's civil unrest, whether it is I'm feeling like, I'm having thoughts of suicidal ideations.
Yeah.
And these are tough conversations that we're having with our higher level kids, but our elementary students are excited to just engage, and we're opening up the awareness like we talked about.
Do you run the risk of losing the core message by broadening the message? Because there's nothing you would say, nothing you just said that I would whittle out of the conversation. Right. But at the same time, though, it's Red Ribbon Week. It's stopping drug. Like, do you run the risk of losing the core message by broadening out to be everything?
Another good question. So in previous years, we've had some concerns from parents that say, it's just glamorized fun daily activities. And so what I'd like to say to that is the message still stands true.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for our students to go home and have conversations that they may not have without this being the gateway to a healthy conversation around a table. It also allows our school staff, our school system to have a conversation around drug and alcohol use prevention, and it allows us to bring in our community partners who do this work every day.
Yeah.
And our parents and our staff may not know about what somebody like Crimestoppers does and why it's effective, because it is.
Yeah.
When we wore these shirts that say "See something, say something," it wasn't just about bullying. It was about if you see anything
Right.
that does not sit right,
Right.
well, or is illegal, say something.
Mhm.
And so that just opened up so many different types of conversations. I think it's powerful
Yeah.
when we focus on it, but I also think it's healthy to have some fun around these types of conversations as well, especially right now with everything going on.
If folks want to learn more, they can check out icare.ebrschools.org, icare.ebrschools.org, or call 226-2273.
Yes.
226-2273.
And check us out, Brian.
Oh, look at that. We
are
got all the
on
social medias on the backside.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now that you're talking about TikTok, maybe we need to create an iCare TikTok.
I think so.
Okay, we can do that.
Absolutely. Tanya, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We've got the outside in coming your way in just a little bit. First, we're going to check your money now. We'll check traffic as well. And don't forget, next hour, there's a lot more on slate for next hour as well. You're listening to Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. I apologize. I didn't ask a single question that was actually off the sheet. I think I asked the second one.
You want to know a secret?
What?
I don't even know what's on the sheet.
Okay.
Cecile had my copy. I
Okay.
love her. She. No, it's all.
Well,
good. I think we do better like that.
We absolutely do. And once the conversation is being had, there's no way to get out of the conversation.
No.
Because it would sound so scripted and unorganic.
Yeah,
so.
and you really asked the question that plagued us like 5 years ago about.
About broadening out too much?
Yeah,
or
we had
well,
some parent concerns, send some concerns in, and it is valid. If you're getting something sent home and it's just like wear red this day, or your child has to dress up in military attire because we're fighting the war against drugs, and you don't really understand like the concept.
Right.
It's so much more behind it. So in schools, in their Spanish classes, they're learning about Kiki, right? They're learning exactly what happened as a DEA.
Oh, I'm looking this
how he
one
was
up, by the
tortured.
way. I want to know
And
a lot
and
more.
the story is so detailed about everything. He was undercover. He was attacked. I mean, and when you look at
tortured.
it was absolutely horrific. So we don't go into those types of details with the little kids, but to know
Right.
about it and to
Well, no, it's all age appropriate stuff.
right. Yeah, where it
But
starts.
when you start broadening out, so you do run the risk of maybe watering down the core message about just say no to drugs. But at the same time, though, what you're doing is you're opening up the possibility of getting to the root causes of wanting to seek that behavior in the first place, whether it be drugs or bullying. It all starts with either a compensating for something else, or it's just there's another problem going on there. Nobody just bullies to bully; they bully to cover up something that they've got going on in their own life.
Yes, and you having that conversation. I know last time we were here talking about all of our children. Between me, you, and Cecile, we said we had like 1,000 kids last year.
Yeah.
And so having that type of conversation has allowed us to assist in decreasing the use of alcohol across the district for the high school students.
Right.
We got some data back, and it has said that alcohol use is down, but then we're all worried about vaping. So what is it that you're doing that is like making you feel like you want to vape? What types of conversations do we need to have? And now we're finding out our kids are high in grief because of COVID loss. They're high in stress, right?
Mhm.
And they're in social anxiety because we haven't been together to have conversations. So like, I love eye contact. I miss it.
Yeah.
But I've been able to do it for 40-something years, where our
Right.
students have been home for a year or two. They're having trouble making eye contact.
Right.
So social cues, being able to have tough conversations, along with everything else they have going on as teens, this allows for all that to open up. This alone, I thought I was going to lose street credit with the see something, say something, because you're like, you're snitching, you're going to get stitches, all that stuff. No, this is allowing us to have opportunities for students to be like, okay, so that's cool now, so I can tell you that I think my friend is cutting, or if this person mentioned that they didn't want to live anymore, can you go talk to them? We're having more student referrals for other students more than ever.
Right.
And that for us is like, we're on the right track.
That's the whole battle.
That's it.
And they can also reach out to Crimestoppers, P3, whatnot.
Yeah.
Because they're anonymous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it gets the same.
And the buy-in is better now with Crimestoppers, I think. Are you all getting more calls?
No, we're getting our calls are up. Yes. Crimestopper tip. Give a location of Matthew Mia.
Really?
Wow.
So people are using it.
Yeah. The buy-in is there, and when we're out in the communities, they're like, we tell them make sure you can't get us. We're not 24 hours a day. We're only in the school system, but not. But you can't call me and have me. I can't enforce anything. I'm just teaching your babies. But you can call our friends, and they will show up and show out, and you will be okay, and you will better serve your community for it.
Absolutely. Yep.
The buy-in is there.
And that's
Racial divide, across communities, across social inequities, the buy-in is rising.
I'm just glad to hear it, because that's going to be a turning point. Because the negative side has done nothing but grow, in opportunity and just the.
I guess Susan forgot to put Crimestoppers on here.
I mean,
I did this. No, but I can fix it. I need to ask, can we use your logo? Can we use your logo? Okay. I need a file, and I'll put it on there.
Yeah, just text me right now.
And I put it in the magazine too. Okay. Yeah, that would
Buddy,
be great.
thank you so much.
my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much for coming by. Always.
We'll
Appreciate it.
promote Drug Take Back.
Yeah.
Next week.
Cool.
And then in November, I'll be back.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
Yeah. Right.
Nobody misses me.
We all miss you, Don.
You would leave these with you? Does anybody
Uh,
want these, you think?
Yeah, leave them here. That's fine,
Thank
if you don't mind.
All right, I'll take this and put this out.
No, we just put them in our public space. So just.
Be good. Good
It's
luck.
a pleasure. You look great.
Thank you so much.
Tonight to the-
Yeah,
It was nice.
St. George has it coming, man.
Y'all got it, man.
It's on. It's on.
Y'all have a big good, sir. Have a good one.
7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Got CBS News coming your way in about 4.5 minutes. The clock is ticking. Kickoff is 11 a.m. in Tiger Stadium. LSU versus Florida. You don't want to fire up the grill before dawn. Let's make this easy for tailgating on Saturday. Swing by Mathern's. Swing by Mathern's on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. Pick up a tailgating tray, a party tray. Now, you do have to order them ahead of time, but they can help you out. Mathern's on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. And, oh, by the way, while you're there, you can pick up all the beer you're going to need for game day and every day after that. I'm pulling up the phone number right now. 367-6074. 367-6074. Today's probably the last day to get in your order to be ready for game day. As what? It's already Thursday? Oh, by the way, if you wanted to swing by and grab lunch today, place your order while you're there for lunch. That's fine, too. Underrated lunch over at Mathern's. If you're not following them on Facebook, you should be, because you can get the lunch menu in plenty of advance time to know whether or not you're going to swing by. But, yeah, get your party trays now. Get your tailgate trays now. Save yourself a couple of hours in the morning. An 11 a.m. kickoff stinks. You shouldn't have to be out there firing up the grill at 5:30 in the morning. So let Mathern's help you out this weekend. They've got two locations. You're going to want Nicholson and Skip Urban Drive. They're also downtown on 3rd Street as well for Mathern's. All right, time for the outside in. Let's get it. A deadly wreck on I-10 eastbound in St. James Parish killed 2 people Wednesday night. State police confirmed an 18-wheeler and another vehicle crashed, killing 2 people on the interstate just past the Ascension Parish line. Up in Monroe, a former Louisiana State Police trooper pled not guilty Wednesday to a federal charge in the 2019 video-recorded beating of a man whose injuries included a broken jaw and broken ribs. Jacob Brown is charged with deprivation of rights under color of law in the beating of Aaron Bowman following a North Louisiana traffic stop. Wednesday's hearing in Monroe was held via video conference. Brown's September indictment came amid federal scrutiny of other troopers who punched, stunned, and dragged another black motorist, Ronald Green, before he died in custody. The Green and Bowman beatings took place less than 3 weeks and 20 miles apart. In Ascension Parish, sheriff's deputies are looking for a man believed to be armed and on the run. The Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office is asking for the public to be on the lookout for 26-year-old Darian Bennett. Bennett is wanted for a charge of aggravated assault with a firearm related to a domestic violence complaint. The Sheriff's Office said Bennett is believed to be armed. East Feliciana Council on Aging has closed due to the resurgence of the coronavirus throughout Louisiana. It will be closed until further notice. I'm grabbing this one from the Advocate, by the way. While the Council on Aging in East Feliciana is closed, transportation is still being provided to all parish residents for appointments within East Feliciana, West Feliciana, and East Baton Rouge parishes Monday through Friday. Seniors ride free of charge. That is a look at the outside in presented by Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. You can learn more at brptlake.com. brptlake.com. We're going to get you to CBS News here in just a second. Before we do, though, need to remind you this weekend and next, it's Boo at the Zoo, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. It is a Baton Rouge staple, been around since 1996. You got treats for the kids, you got a costume contest. Dress the whole family up for the costume contest. Take the pictures and post them on your social media with the Zoo's Boo at the Zoo hashtag. It's a good time every single year. Check it out this weekend and next. It's Boo at the Zoo. All right, I'll be back. Excellent.
Already had the caramel nut one, and then I'm about to finish the lime bread. It's filling. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Very filling.
Surprisingly so for that little bitty bar, you know.
Very high protein. I wish I could see the nutritional facts.
Um, no, it's on the box. They're not meant for individual.
Real high protein.
It is. It's like 14 grams or something.
I'll talk more about it when it's done.
Yep.
Is Congressman Graves joining, or is he calling?
Calling, I believe. All right.
Probably has not switched in like the next 3 days. Give BRPT.
Okay. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got Congressman Garret Graves coming your way in our next segment. DC Current. We normally do it at 7:35 on Wednesday. Congressman was making a vote at that time, as I understand it, so we pushed it back to today. No problem at all. Love getting the latest from Congressman Garret Graves every single week. All right, so after Congressman Graves, we've got a cold front coming in to close out the week. Should be rolling through tomorrow. We're going to talk with Dr. Josh Eachus at 8:40 to get the latest. Just how cool of a cool front, how long is it going to last, that sort of thing. And might follow up with a question about, we are midway through October. Hurricane season doesn't end till the end of November, but normally when the weather starts to cool down, we kind of take our foot off the gas. Are we there yet? We'll talk with Dr. Josh Eachus as well. Right now, though, we're supposed to get to this day in history. But before we do, and I know they're not on the books for today, I go by tomorrow. I go by Go Slim tomorrow for my way in. Jake was hungry earlier in the show. Skipped breakfast this morning and asked if we had a vending machine. I said, no need, sir. I've got a Go Slim bar for you. The diet I've been partaking in, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that clearly it's effective. Now, as to the why it's effective, I tell you every single day when I tell you about Go Slim, you can get diet food anywhere. You can get bars and shakes anywhere. But the bars and shakes at Go Slim are fantastic, or at least I think so. Jake, what's your takeaway from I believe I gave you a Rocky Road and a caramel nut, which means basically I gave you 2 candy bars. But
yes.
All right.
So for starters, it's very filling.
Yeah.
After one, I thought I was good. I wanted to try the other one just to see like if I liked one over the other.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely full. I was starving this morning.
Yeah.
That is definitely not the case anymore. First impressions, caramel nut is S tier. I actually love the taste of it. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big milk drinker, so if I had milk with this, it'd be like the best.
Yeah. Sadly, I chopped milk out for the diet, but yes, I could see how that would pair well.
Fair enough.
Rocky Road?
Rocky Road was good. I've never been too big of a fan of Rocky Road, just like the flavor on its own, or I guess flavor. It's a lot thicker than the other one.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely one you got to watch out for with the roof of your mouth, but it's still delicious.
All right.
It's a lot of I didn't get to see the nutritional facts because it's on the box, not the actual, the bars. But I can imagine it's very high in protein.
It is. I believe it's about 14 grams of protein per bar, so you're set for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, my
You're
protein
good to
intake
go.
is I'm maxed. I'm clocked out right now.
There it is. So
it's 8 o'clock.
All right. Well, I've got more. So if you miss breakfast again, We can hook that up.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. In the meanwhile, it is time for This Day in History.
We're going to start things off in 1773. It was the American Revolutionary War. The United Kingdom's East India Company tea-ships cargo is burned at Annapolis, Maryland.
Excellent.
1774, 1 year later, First Continental Congress makes a declaration of colonial rights in Philadelphia. America, I tell you.
It's a good day for America. We don't celebrate October 14th very much, but clearly a lot happened.
Yeah, we usually like to celebrate 2 and 3 years respectively. Afterwards, 1776, obviously.
Yeah. I'm just saying we celebrate July 4th. It's Independence Day, but
We made some good steps today.
Let's dial it back to when Patty G was in a little while ago. You know, we get July 4th as a national holiday. I'm thinking we add 1 or 2 more patriotic things to October 14th, and we can start taking the middle of October off. Let's add another national holiday to the best places to work.
Give me a sec. I'll write something down.
There he is. Let's do it after because we got to get to Congressman Graves too.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so 1834 in Philadelphia, Whigs, the political party, Whigs and Democrats stage a gun, stone, and brick battle for control of an election, resulting in 1 death, several injuries, and the burning down of a block of buildings.
That's fantastic.
When can we go back to that kind of judicial system?
I mean, you thought last election got contentious.
200 years ago, give or take a few, was kind of wild.
Yeah.
1964, Martin Luther King Jr. announces the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yep.
1977, rock band Kiss released their second live album, Alive 2. If you don't remember, first concert was Kiss.
Oh, yes.
Rock on roll. 1979, NHL's greatest scorer, Wayne Gretzky, scores his first NHL goal.
That's pretty cool.
Legend right there.
Yeah.
1980, presidential nominee Ronald Reagan promises to name a woman to the U.S. Supreme Court. I bring this up to ask because I actually don't know. Did he do that?
He did.
Oh, very nice. 1982, U.S. President Reagan proclaims a war on drugs. How's that going?
1992?
82.
82, there you go.
Did I say 92?
I thought so. I could have been wrong.
Well, 1982 that happened, and it's been not going well
So,
since.
yeah, it was a Republican that first put a woman on the Supreme Court. It was Sandra Day O'Connor. Yeah.
2007, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premieres on the cable network in the U.S.
Jeez,
Yeah.
2007.
2007. We've been
That
living
show
through
is
this
as
for 14
old as my
years.
oldest daughter. That's just stupid.
It's weird, huh?
Did you see Kim Kardashian on SNL last week? She's good. I was really impressed.
Good for her.
Yeah.
That's going to conclude the events that we got. Let's get right to the birthdays. First up, we have Usher turning 43.
Yeah.
George Floyd would have been 48 on this day. Ralph Lauren turned 82 on this day.
All right.
Stephen A. Smith, 54.
And happy birthday to him. I don't care.
Jared Goff, the goofball, 27 years old on this day. You got anything for me?
Did you have Stacy Keebler? I don't know who she is. I guess she makes cookies.
What?
She makes cookies? Keebler? Nothing? Fine. Moving on.
Yeah. She's a wrestler, and she was really popular in the late 90s.
You know, I bet nobody got that Stephen A. joke that I was just singing a second ago.
I certainly didn't.
Okay.
Sports is my thing.
Yeah. Look up Stephen A. birthday, Dan Lebitard.
Okay.
You'll laugh your took us off. Got another local?
Yeah.
LaRon Landry. Big hitter. Big hitter from LSU. LaRon Landry, former Redskins safety. And also Justin Forsett.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Former plug and play. He's everybody's favorite bye-week fantasy running back, right?
Yeah. Do you have any deaths? Because I don't.
No.
Well, then let's get right to the holidays. Fortunately, none of us celebrate this one. It's Be Bald and Free Day.
It's big in this building, just not in this studio.
I won't name names, but...
No. Well, you know what? Shout out Chuck P. What
Shout
up?
out Matt Moscona.
Wow.
Love you, Matt. National Dessert Day. Yummy.
Okay.
I kind of had dessert for breakfast this morning.
Yeah, you did.
It was delicious. Thank you so much for doing that.
Anytime.
World Sight Day.
Okay.
That's exactly what you'd expect. And World Standards Day.
All right. I didn't know the world had standards. Like actual
It really
standards.
doesn't seem like we do, but
No.
hey, happy holidays, I guess.
Yep.
But that's going to conclude this day in history.
All right, we are due up for a break. When we come back, we're supposed to be speaking with Congressman Garret Graves. D.C. Current, one day postponed, but coming at you next on Talk 107.3. I'm pushing BRPT back. Because I knew we were going to run long in that segment, and I want to make sure I have all the time possible with Garrett.
It's all good. I'm going to kill the mics first.
Cool.
Now, where is the congressman?
So randomly, there he is.
There we go.
Morning.
What's going on, man?
Another, was it one of those songs? Did I get it right?
It was. It was very good.
It's like literally everything, and I think I said it was Flow Right. It's 50 Cent. It's G Unit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
But it's literally every song.
bit, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Is my mic on? Yeah, so I forget whose birthday it was. Maybe Tom Brady's or somebody. But Stephen A. on the Stephen A. Smith show, when he used to have his radio show, just starts singing, "And happy birthday to him." And then he gets really mad. He's like, "I don't care. Good luck." And Dan Levitard and Stu Gus just started ripping it, and it became one of the funniest bits ever. (817) Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time for D.C. Current. Time to welcome in Congressman Garret Graves. Congressman Graves, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Doing okay. How about you, Brian?
Doing all right. So called back up to Congress a little bit early. Is that good news that we're seeing progress, or bad news that you're just back in the muck?
Well, look, it was totally avoidable. They called us back for less than 24 hours. Flew back up on was it Monday evening and Tuesday evening. Came back yesterday morning. It was just 2 votes, and this was avoidable. This was the whole debt limit increase. You may remember a few weeks ago we were talking about how Speaker Pelosi decided to attach the debt limit to the hurricane recovery bill. Just attaching a poison pill to it. We knew it didn't have the votes to pass that way. And so she finally did what should have been done from the beginning, was just to do a straight-up bill to increase the debt limit. And so that's what she did. And So debt limit has been extended through December of this year. So there's going to be another battle, unfortunately, coming up later this year, trying to figure out how they're going to raise the debt limit again.
Okay, so let's unpack that first before I get to my brilliant idea in a minute. But let's unpack that first. Pushing the debt ceiling back by 3 months does absolutely nothing to curb spending. It does absolutely nothing to stay under the debt ceiling anyway. Like, when you get back to it in December, we're going to be back in that have-to position again where you have to raise the debt ceiling again because it's, once again, 100% emergency time. What gets done by pushing it back to December?
Yeah, so Brian, right now there are about $11.4 trillion in legislation that the leadership in Congress has before us, and that does, just to be fair, includes the $1.9 trillion that we did earlier this year as part of what they called the rescue plan. That was a lot of extraordinary superfluous funding. So they've got the $4.3 trillion reconciliation bill, the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, the $4 trillion appropriations. So they've got all of this legislation in front of them, and the majority of things that have been done this year, the majority of substantial legislation that's been done this year, has all been done unilaterally, been done on a partisan basis. They've kind of shoved it down members of Congress's throat. And so to come in now on this thing that's controversial, that is, is something that really frustrates a lot of people, myself included, because of the incredible debt of the nation, to come in and say, oh, well, we want bipartisan support for this one. It's like, no. And so how this should work for the rest of the year is that if Speaker Pelosi is going to demand that they move forward on all of these trillions of dollars of bills, just add the debt limit to that. If you're going to shove all these things down our throat, don't come and ask for bipartisan cooperation on the debt limit, which really aggravates a lot of folks because of the debt that we're placing on our children and grandchildren. It's the one kind of leverage point that we have at this point if she's going to try to force bipartisan cooperation on it. So it's the one tool that we have to try to rein in spending a bit from the $11.4 trillion she's trying to spend right now. Look, we're on track to have every taxpayer owe $353,000 in debt to the federal government, to the debt holders. And look, I can't afford it. You can't afford it. And so we've got to curb spending, rein it in. And I'm not saying we don't spend money. Look, we've got things we need to spend money on, but we don't need to expand our social welfare programs. We've shown what that's doing, where we have the greatest gap in jobs available versus people not in the workforce because of the overly generous programs that are out there already. It's the wrong direction.
The national debt has gone up by $4 million in the amount of time that you've been on the air with me in this segment. I've got the Debt Clock website open right now. I've just been checking in on it. It just, the ridiculousness of it is just beyond. And yeah, where we're at right now, I want to say, you said it would bring it up to how many? 300 and what thousand per citizen?
That'd be about $353,000 per citizen is what it's projected to go to. And Brian, look, you can see on that debt clock, one of the things it shows is in 1980, our national debt was about 35% of the overall U.S. economy. Yeah. We're tracking right now about 125%. I mean, these are unsustainable numbers. These are numbers you see in third world countries, not in the greatest country on earth. And we've got to do a better job prioritizing spending. We can't ignore the fact that as interest rates go up, that means that the debt is going to be even more expensive because the interest rates affect how much we pay on the debt as well. And I can't say this enough. I'm not saying we don't spend money, but we've just got to spend it smartly. We've got to be deliberate about where we spend the dollars and make investments. Don't throw money away. Social welfare is not what made America great. And all of these border crises and everything that's happening, that is us just throwing billions and billions of dollars out the window and increasing our overall liability for taxpayers and not thinking about long-term sustainable growth, good opportunities, wage growth for America, and increasing our competitiveness. It's going in the wrong direction. Look at gas prices alone.
Yeah, I mean, up by 10 cents right here in Baton Rouge over the last couple of weeks. the number of real-life examples of where it gets frustrating just continue to show up. I'm glad you brought that 1980 number because it was at 38% or 35% then, up to 56% by 2000, and now it's at 126%. Is there a way to pass a rule in Congress or some sort of guideline that says before you can even propose a bill that has any new spending at all, it has to be run through some kind of debt comparison or national debt ceiling comparison? For example, when our governor signed off on tax relief that made it through the last legislative session, he said it had to qualify as being revenue neutral. Is there a way to do that in reverse in Congress?
There is, and there should be. And look, a few other forcing tools that I think we ought to do. Look, I think members of Congress should not get paid unless we balance the budget. And I think that is a rule change that should happen. We've proposed it. We've supported it. Look, it's like doing your job. If you don't show up and do your job, Brian, you shouldn't get paid. And this is a fundamental component of Congress's job, and I think that should be a forcing factor. We should not get paid unless we balance the budget. I believe that there should be a constitutional amendment that requires a balanced budget, just like there is in the state of Louisiana, just like there is at your house. That's what makes sense. And of course, in extraordinary times and hurricanes and wars and what have you, you give a little bit of leeway there. But we're just printing money. We're looking at this like it's a game of Monopoly and not really being thoughtful about the impact this is going to have on America's long-term future and really the impact it's going to have on our children and grandchildren. This should not be a partisan political thing, but it's like folks are trying to just throw as much money out there as they can right now, trying to affect elections. And I mean, look, that's like bribing for elections. It's just for votes. It's incredibly irresponsible. It's short-term thinking, and it's unsustainable.
Unsustainable is the key word right there. And I don't know how much longer we can keep putting it off. But the problem, Congressman, is every time we think we can't put it off any farther, we find a way to borrow more. We find a way to dig ourselves further into a hole. Is it going to take something catastrophic to wake us up?
I think it's going to take something catastrophic, or it's going to take, like I said, one of these forcing factors where there should be a constitutional amendment. There should be a rule in Congress that says that members of Congress don't get paid unless they balance the budget. Those are things that should be forced upon Congress. Those are tools that American citizens should demand. Look, we had proposed a constitutional amendment and put it up for a vote, and it ended up getting shot down. And I think that those people that opposed it should be held accountable for those votes, should be held accountable for the burdens that they're putting on our children and grandchildren. And like you said, I think it's a great idea to demonstrate the efficacy of bills that are proposed, meaning if this isn't something that's truly considered an investment, if it's superfluous funding, if it's pork dollars for your district and isn't really something that's in the national interest, it shouldn't be funded. And I'll give you an example. Yeah. Projects like our flood protection, not all of them, but there are billions of dollars in projects that we've funded, but we've been able to demonstrate by making this investment, we are going to save taxpayer funding by preventing future disasters, by preventing homes from being destroyed, the economy from being impacted. Things like some road projects, a new bridge crossing the Mississippi River, that we can demonstrate how it will reduce emissions out of vehicles, it will reduce gasoline costs. That's an investment that we can demonstrate the return to taxpayers. Going out there and putting $200 million in a country club in San Francisco, that's not where taxpayer dollars need to go. It's not a national priority.
We got Congressman Garret Graves for about 2.5 more minutes. This is DC Current. We do it every single week. Congressman, one of the YouTube viewers, Debbie, asked me, she said, Jen Psaki just said there's a national gas shortage. The next time you have the congressman on, can you ask him about natural gas? Are we seeing a shortage?
Well, look, you can go back and look at the letter that Steve Scalise and I sent last month. Let me think. Yes, last month, where we kind of predicted this, talking about the activities, the regulatory practices the additional burdens, the attempts to increase pipeline fees and royalties on U.S. gas producers, the impact of Hurricane Ida on production in the Gulf of Mexico. This was predictable, and this was preventable. I use this term on Afghanistan. I'm going to use it again. These are unforced errors. You can go back and you can quantify all of these individual policies, practices, and lack of action. And all of these things cumulatively contribute to what we're seeing right now. I mean, look, you had folks out there stopping production of energy in Louisiana, but then going out and asking Saudi Arabia and Russia, American government officials going to Saudi Arabia and Russia and saying, hey, we need you to increase energy production. Yeah. These policies don't make sense. And this isn't partisan. This is just wrong. It's boneheaded ideas.
And it goes right back to the first topic of the debt to begin with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unfortunately, seeing a lot of just policies that aren't fully thought out. And I think you need some more experienced people in some of these key positions in government.
Yeah, and running it through some kind of official score could be a game changer as well. We meet every single week. Congressman Garret Graves, I always appreciate the time. I always appreciate the input, sir.
Hey, Brian, thanks. Hope you have a good week.
You do the same. Appreciate it. And, yeah, we're going to run back into it again before the end of the year. And they're going to have to raise the ceiling again. By the way, the U.S. national debt has gone up by close to $30 million in this one segment. By the way, it's a fascinating site. It's called usdebtclock.org. It's equal parts fascinating and infuriating. But if you get everybody, both parties, by the way, if you get everybody on the same playing field, running through the same metrics and the same score, if you want to propose legislation, it's got to have a positive impact on the national debt, not the other way around. That could curb a lot of things and free things up for times like now. Here comes CBS News. Wonder where she got this audio from. That was Bayham yesterday on the show. The cuts that she was using. Eachus. WBRZ's chief meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not putting the U.S. debt clock on a fucking mobile app. Are you kidding me? There's so many stats, though. What's your impression on it, though? It's scary as hell. It's like watching a bullet come at your face. That's terrible hyperbole, but like the rationale there is moving so fast. It's ticking so quickly. And the tax revenue, like right now, our U.S. national debt, $28,874,872,000,000, and I can't count beyond that because it's moving too fast to even say the numbers. Whereas the tax revenue is moving at, like, it's just a slightly slower tick, but this is where we're at. And what's going to happen is when they pass these major bills, this number moves in a chunk while this number does not.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember he said 350,000 would be the debt per taxpayer? That's up from where it's at right now of 229,000. Like, that's an increase of 120,000 ahead. I'm going to keep bringing it up to everybody I have on the damn show about that. Like, there should be a scorecard that says, is this debt neutral? We get COVID-19. That's what happens.
You know, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to live a life for a while. Let America sort itself out. And by sort itself, I mean God knows when.
Problem is, you take your foot off the gas with anything, and the whole structure starts to dissipate. Well, I mean, like, do you want roads and bridges to go completely unattended? Do you want our national defense to be defunded? Do you want what little border patrol we have left to be defunded? Do you want health care to fall to the wayside? Like, we've built ourselves an unsustainable system, but at the same time, though, without the system, the number of people who just die tomorrow would skyrocket.
I mean, if we didn't keep up what we've been doing for all this time, then we'd fall apart. Why? Not much we can do at this point. On the path I was set forth by those who preceded us.
Hey, look, I told you about that bit with Stephen A. I texted Kate. I said it's Stephen A.'s birthday. He texted back, I don't care. Good luck. Don't care about what, and good luck to who? I don't care. A happy birthday to him. What? It might have been Clayton Kershaw, yeah. Oh, here, yep. Sorry. Well, give it a minute. I told him 8:40, so I'm going to knock out my live read first. Just write the number down. Oop. Yeah. Hey, Jake's calling you in just a second.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool, thanks. I don't think he knows who you are yet. He's got a meteorologist named Jake Dalton. What did I do with my BRPT copy? No, I don't. 838, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to Congressman Garret Graves. I need to start pushing this idea about the debt-neutral, like, litmus test. I mean, it really should be tacked on to everything that runs through Congress. We know that's a pipe dream. We know it would never happen. But from the time I had the congressman on, from the time I punched him up on air till the time we concluded that interview, the national debt went up by more than $25 million. Or maybe it was it 30? I don't remember. Anyway, if you watch usdebtclock.org, you just it's like a horror film. We're getting to a cool front coming through tomorrow. How long will it last? How cool will it be? What will it be like hitting campus at dawn on Saturday and then versus while you're in Tiger Stadium for an 11 o'clock kickoff? That's going to be one of those where you might need some sleeves before you make your way to the stadium. Might need to shed those sleeves while you're in the stadium. Going to get to Dr. Josh Eachus in just a second. I do have to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. You can check them out online at brptlake.com, brptlake.com. They basically introduced physical therapy to Baton Rouge 60 years ago. They've grown to 6 locations, and they know how to address this from every angle, okay? They take the time to truly understand your unique circumstances, including any anxieties or frustrations you have. I mean, if you got lower back pain, if you got a little limp, you learn to live with a limp, right? Let them help you work through it. Give them a call at 917-9185, 917-9185. Get your free screening today. Get back to being your best you. Think physical therapy. Think brptlake.com. All right, got a cool front rolling through. Just how cool and just how long will it be with us? WBRZ's chief meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus, joins us now. Josh, what's happening, man?
Hey, Brian, I'm doing great. I am standing by for 20 minutes from now. You're burying the lead. Peter Stormare today. I'm fired up, man. I've seen so many of the shows I watch.
Okay, yes. So it's going to be YouTube only for today, but we will air it tomorrow during the show. Peter Stormare from Fargo, from Big Lebowski. It took me forever to place him, but he was in Bad Boys 2 as well. He was Alexi in Bad Boys 2.
I love it. I watched him in Prison Break. He was great in that, and the Netflix series Longmire is great in that too.
Okay, I've been told I got to see Longmire. Also, I was told he's in The Blacklist. I started The Blacklist yesterday. I'm a big James Spader guy, so looking forward to diving into The Blacklist. But yeah, Peter Stormare coming up in just a little bit. He's got a new movie coming out called The Grand Duke of Corsica. And go check out the trailer. This movie seems like it's going to be the most bizarre thing of the year. So, a lot of fun.
I'm here for it.
Excellent. All right. Speaking of being here for it, I'm here for cooler temperatures. We've been getting hot and muggy the last couple days. How cool is it going to get after tomorrow?
You know, for lows, we're probably going to challenge the numbers we saw in September with our first, decent fall cold front, where we're going to see lows in the low 50s. I believe we would have to get to 52 or lower to beat what we had earlier in September. But I think we are going to end up chalking up lower high temperatures than we've experienced after a front so far this fall season. Saturday and Sunday are probably going to stay in the lower to maybe middle 70s. And even after that first front in September, we didn't bottom out any lower than about 77 degrees for a high. So looks like this will be, I would say, technically our coolest air mass so far this fall season.
And sustainability, how long will it stick with us? Because as I'm scrolling through, I don't really think we get back into the 80s for the next week or so, do we?
We could maybe by the middle and end of next week, but yeah, this one's going to have more staying power than the last, and it's kind of like a cumulative effect. This is the first of a series that will just kind of hack our temperatures down into more fall and winter-like temperatures as we move into the end of October and November. So yeah, this one's definitely going to have more of an impact temperature-wise than the first did, and we will enjoy the comfortable weather for more than 2 or 3 days compared to the last one. This should feel good, I would say, through at least Tuesday. And even at that, when our temperatures rise back up, it certainly is not going to be to the level of what we're feeling right now. It's pretty miserable for mid-October.
Yeah, today and tomorrow. Now, looking forward to tomorrow. When this rolls through, of course, there will be some rain on the front end of it, or a chance of rain on the front end of it. Are we looking at like a violent, nasty squall to roll through, or is this going to be like some lazy rain?
That's a great question. No, there are just no ingredients for severe weather. I'm kind of looking for a narrow line of showers and thunderstorms, one that may only last for an hour or two in your given location. And as of now, we're timing it out for about 10 or 11 o'clock. We're kind of maybe hoping that slows down just a touch, because that would allow us to get in all of our high school football without any threat for a lightning delay.
Yeah.
I know we want the cool air to get here as soon as possible, but it's not happening until after midnight Friday, so we might as well delay that front for an hour or two so we can get those games in. So the changes will be better felt when you get up on Saturday morning, and the rain will be done by then. There's only going to be a very brief window for some showers immediately along the boundary.
All right, well, then let's fast forward to Saturday morning, because Saturday morning is kickoff in Tiger Stadium. I'm guessing it's going to be nice and cool when folks get out to tailgate and whatnot, which is going to be around dawn. how much different is it going to be during the game? Like, is this going to be one of those games where you got to, layer up before you head over there and have to shed those layers before halftime?
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be a deal where it might depend on where you are sitting. Certainly going to be in the 60s when the game gets started, which would be cooler than any game we've played in Tiger Stadium this year, even though they've been, night games. So that gives you an idea for a front coming through that will be chilly with the sun out. If you're in the shade in the stadium, and I expect winds to be elevated behind the front, so a 10 to 15 mile per hour breeze, long sleeves and jeans or long pants will probably feel better. Then if you're in the sun, I think the jacket could get a little warm, and the sun would kind of keep you from needing that. It's kind of one of those tricky things, we say I don't have the right outfit for this, so yeah, you might want to take layers that you can add and subtract based on how much sun you're dealing with.
Absolutely. While we've got you here, I want to shift gears a little bit because we are on the last month and a half of hurricane season, and when we start to see cold fronts running through, we start to take our foot off the gas for hurricane season. What are we looking at right now? Are we on the waning days of this, or is there more in the works?
We are. I'm glad you asked this. And I had a piece in the works for WBRZ.com and was going to get into this a little bit on the air over the next couple of days. So, yeah, obviously everybody knows about the National Hurricane Center's 5-day outlook, and there's a disturbance out there near Puerto Rico that's kind of moving to the northeast. The front's going to grab it. It only has a 10% chance of formation. We're not worried about that. Beyond that, there's no development chance over the next 5 days. So, can we look beyond that? And we do. There's nothing even, we see those model canes, 10, 14 days out. There are none of those, so nothing to even say, hey, that's a possibility. And then the Climate Prediction Center, which is a little bit more of an official agency than, looking at one forecast model, they give an outlook for 2 weeks. And they don't have anything that takes us through October 26th, where there's a possibility of development. And then you get to, well, now we're in record territory because the latest landfalls in Louisiana history for a hurricane were Zeta last year on October 28th, and in 1985, Hurricane Juan on October 29th. So as far as our outlooks and foreseeable future and even kind of best guesstimating goes with forecast models for the next 2 weeks, there really doesn't appear to be anything, meaning that if anything else were to happen this year, it would be a record. And, you usually don't bet on new records happening. We don't let our guard down in hurricane season ever, but I am optimistic that as far as any kind of substantial storm goes, we are looking pretty good for the rest of the season. Now, you mentioned fronts. It's always possible in late October, early November, you get a little spin-up, disturbance, depression, weak tropical storm. On the tail end of a front comes kind of a hybrid system. Could bring you a quick shot of rain and some wind. But as far as any high-impact storms, I think we're really looking unlikely for that for the remainder of the season.
WBRC's Chief Meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus, is with us. One more for you, Josh, and it's going back to the cool front, but combining it with hurricane season and the fronts that are to come through as well. What effects do they have on the temperature in the Gulf? Will we see a visible effect on temperatures in the Gulf, which have run hot throughout hurricane season or hotter than normal throughout hurricane season? How difficult is it to sway that back down to the cooler waters we can expect for the winter?
Naturally, it takes some time, and it does take a couple of fronts. We talked about a cumulative effect on our winter temperatures, but also there's a cumulative effect on moving warm water off the surface of the Gulf. And what happens is we cool the nearshore areas first because they're shallower, so we blow that warm water off the top and down into the Gulf, and it's just kind of like knocking it back slowly but surely. And we do have nearshore water temperatures now kind of in the lower and middle 80s, which is about the threshold for tropical development. And that means that we, at the very least, wouldn't see a strengthening storm on approach to land, even though we're not anticipating any more, big impact storms on the way to land in the next couple of weeks here. But they can take until mid to late November to get that water cooling off through and through all the way into the Gulf of Mexico. You remember last year we had some of those gnarly storms in the Caribbean even into mid-November. So that's an area that could still be active as we move toward the end of the season. It just gets harder and harder for those storms to gain latitude and hold strength because of the cooling water temperatures. But it is still warm water down there, and that's something to keep in mind. Even if we do get a quick spin up on the tail end of a front, there's fuel for it there.
He is WBRZ's Chief Meteorologist, Dr. Josh Eachus. We always love being able to lean on you for a little bit of insight and information. Thank you so much for hopping on board today, man.
Okay, Brian, we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, absolutely. We got Your Money Now coming your way. We'll close out the show after Your Money Now when we check traffic one more time. Dude, you look at the hurricane map right now, which I have open. There's one little yellow X that's not going to be any problem for us. Hurricane season does not officially end until November 30th, but you take that combination of no projected activity over the next 2 weeks. You got a cool front coming through tomorrow night, and then, this is where, like Dr. Josh said, you'll start to see a cool front followed by a cool front, followed by a cool front, and it'll start tapering down. And what do you say? October 29th was the latest storm ever? Hurricane Juan back in 1989? We got to get you to your money now here in just a second. I do have enough time to remind you to sign up for the staycation. Simply take our staycation survey at talk1073.com. We're giving away a true Louisiana staycation. We actually give away 2 of them every single month right here on Talk 1073 FM. One of them is for a one-night stay with valet and dinner for 2 at the Gregory. That's the stay at the Watermark. The other one we give away every month is at the Renaissance Hotel. It's a one-night stay with breakfast for 2 and dinner for 2 at Tallulah. All you have to do is go to talk1073.com, take our staycation survey, and you are registered to win right then. Let's check your money now. When we come back, or check your money in traffic. We'll come back and close it out next on Talk 1073. I haven't done Baton Rouge mattress yet. Yes.
I didn't recognize him by name.
When you see his picture, you recognize him immediately. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't recognize him by name either.
I totally forgot that he's in Nacho Libre. And that's
I've never seen that.
my favorite movies.
Okay.
It's like a cult classic. It's the stupidest thing you'll ever watch if you ever see it.
It's Jack Black's a wrestler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also Hispanic. And it's
Yeah. Couple notes from FEMA before we get out of here. I gotta do this. I'll hit Baton Rouge Mattress, then I'll do these FEMA notes, and then we'll get out. And then YouTube, just stick around because we're gonna leave it set up to where the interview. He's not in studio, so it's not like there's anything to look at, but he is on the hotline. So. Yeah, hanging on to that one. I got to get my guy Nate back on from FEMA. Y'all have to hear this story. I'm shocked a number of news outlets haven't run with this and made a big thing out of it. Fighting the FEMA guy. They're Sennheisers, aren't they? I just assumed they were Sennheisers. I don't know.
I got my own set at my place. Obviously, it's not like this, but I don't know. I'm starting to get into like actual kind of useful skill to have. Especially if I'm producing, I might as well like kind of understand. Midday news.
Gallon of tequila Paloma.
What's your drink of choice? Say like long day at work, you get home or you go to like a bar or something, you just want like a nice drink to have. What do you have?
I either have whiskey or I have a vodka martini. I'm more along the lines of vodka martini right now because of the diet. I'm supposed to be drinking clear. I'm not supposed to be drinking at all, but if you're going to drink, you drink clear, which means tequila or vodka. So, vodka with a squeeze of lemon does it me right, too. My wife and I have, it's like a homemade version of a ranch water. What's up?
I was listening to your thing, the birthday thing. You missed the best part at the end.
What?
When he says, I don't care.
Good luck. Yes.
You missed the good luck part.
See, but he's never heard the bit. I'm telling Jake about it.
I'm not a big Stephen A. fan either.
Dan Levitar and Stu Gatz just ripped that to shreds over and over and over. Yeah, Stu Gatz did it. What's up, Matt?
That makes a lot more sense.
A happy birthday to him. I don't care. By the way, dirty little secret about Stephen A. Smith. Hang on. This is good stuff. Stephen A. has a recurring role on General Hospital. The soap opera. Yeah. Hey, Bo, did you know that? Stephen A. has a recurring role on General Hospital.
Like he said in his bit trashing the basketball player. He hustles and doesn't let anything get in his way.
I mean, for soap opera acting. You know, that's the soap opera acting's not really, you know, it's a lot of high school drama club bullshit. But like, yeah, he's the first time I saw it, I was like, wait, what, this is real? And the first time I saw it was like somebody else posted it up on like Instagram or something. Like, I was today years old when I learned Stephen A. was on a soap opera.
Yeah, I had no idea. Imagine if Stephen A. criticized his own acting in the style of First Take.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. We got dead air. 856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. About to close out on air, but not on YouTube. We got a lot more to go on YouTube. And that is coming up at 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to talk with Peter Stormare. He is a Swedish actor, a musician, a playwright, and a theater director. You have probably seen him in Fargo, Prison Break, The Lost World at Jurassic Park, the one from 97. Oh, that's right! He's the guy...
The hunter.
Yeah, he's one of the hunters. Exactly. He's the guy that no matter what movie it is that pops up, you're like, that was him! That was a bad snap. That was him! He was Alexei in Bad Boys 2. I love when he gets shot up. Spoiler alert, he gets shot up. He was in Constantine. He was in Minority Report. He was in Big Lebowski, playing God. Until Dawn. 22 Jump Street. What's up with that?
Nacho
Nacho Libre. Nut Job 2. With the squirrels or whatever.
Did you say John Wick Chapter 2?
Huh? John Wick 2, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All over the place, man. It's going to be a fun conversation. He's got a new movie coming out called The Grand Duke of Corsica, and it's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. All right. We got to get out of here in just a minute. I've got a couple FEMA stories to get to. I do have to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, though. If you're not getting a good night's sleep, it could be your mattress. It might be time to re-up. Mitch has got you covered. He's always got great deals. He's always got great financing options if you need them. His deals are so good you don't need the financing options most of the time. 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City. 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City, or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. If you mention you heard about him here, you get free delivery. Just tell him. Heard Brian doing the spot for you. Want to come by and check out a mattress? By the way, when you get there, check out as many mattresses as you can. Lay down, fall asleep if you want to. He don't care. Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2. All right, this is going to be tight to get this in, but I got to get this in. Update from FEMA before we get you out of here. Fox News Rundown's next. Update from FEMA. You ready for this? Reading from the press release. The FEMA Fraud and Investigations Unit, FEMA Fraud Investigations and Inspections Division, flagged a trend they're seeing in Louisiana, where some survivors appear frustrated or confrontational when visited by a FEMA inspector because they did not apply for assistance. This could be caused by someone taking a survivor's identity and creating a fraudulent disaster application. For information on what to do if you suspect identity theft, please visit identity theft piping, the pipe on in the search, FTC consumer information and/or identitytheft.gov. Moral of this story is, if a FEMA inspector rolls up on your house and you didn't apply, be nice to them. I couldn't help but notice the word confrontational out there. Yeah, you're getting a little mad because someone's stolen your identity, and it is a frustrating thing. It's been done to me twice. But the FEMA guy didn't do it. Offer him up some iced tea. Who's squaring off with FEMA in their driveway? Are we fighting FEMA these days? Is this where we're at? Huh, I'm here for the inspection. Like hell you are. You get off my property, son. All right, Fox News Rundown's next. That'll be followed by Brian Kilmeade and Dave Ramsey. On air, thank you all so much for listening. On YouTube, stick around. We got a lot more to go. All right, so let me show you what to do to set up the headphones. You're going to record into Adobe, okay? You want mic 3 in program 2 and 4. You want the phone in program 2 and 4. And that is where that's at. That way, yeah, this way. Oh, and you want to flip my monitor over to 2. Yeah. You want to flip it over to 2 as well. That way, when he calls in, I'll be able to hear him through my headphones.
And I can just hit record. I don't have to activate any Adobe software.
No, the Adobe pot stays down. You're not playing something out of Adobe. You're recording something into Adobe. So, no, you do not. The Grand Duke of Corsica.
We have 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Yeah, keep doing what you do. Keep working. A cantankerous and brilliant architect, Alfred Rott, embarks upon a highly unusual commission for an eccentric billionaire in Malta who calls himself the Grand Duke of Corsica. That's Peter Stormare is the Grand Duke. A deadly malaria epidemic sweeps the island, causing panic, but Alfred remains to finish the job. This is bizarre, to say the least. We'll watch the trailer again before we get him on. Reese's pre-roll, right?
Sorry, Reese's.
Mr. Ross, welcome. We're very excited by the prospect of having you design what will be the most inclusive yet outward-looking concert hall in Europe.
The problem with your second draft sketches, they would never in a million years put their name to a concert hall that resembled a woman's vagina.
It's not a vagina, a pudendum, a mons pubis. Look again. Go on, look again. My name is Alfred Rott. Just pay close attention.
I see you found us. The Grand Duke is waiting.
I'm so glad you accepted my invitation. Are you asking me to design for you a mausoleum? I need a visionary like yourself, Mr. Rott. I think I should get to know you better. Stay a few more days here, then design. This island is full of surprises, Mr. Rott. As I was drawn deeper into the Grand Duke's world, I had the uncomfortable feeling of looking into a mirror. I've got around 90 more days to live. 90 days? I can abstain from alcohol. That would help you.
He is taking advantage of you. He's robbing you blind.
He's one of the greatest. I'm an architect, not a builder. This was the obscure
so bizarre. I don't know what. I can't make heads or tails of the whole thing. Crazy. I can't make heads or tails of the movie. The whole thing is so bizarre. All right, anyway. Hey, before we get to them, let's wrap up with a couple more FEMA things. Fighting FEMA sounds like fun to me. Been a lot of fighting going on. Proposed fighting going on in the show today. See Chip Klein and Sean Wilson square off. Just duke it out. I want the $1 billion. No, I do. All right, y'all fight. Fight with a knife. One more from FEMA that I didn't get to that I probably should have, or I should put back in the stack for tomorrow. They're shutting down the Disaster Recovery Center in Donaldsonville. Now, I believe the one in Gonzales is still there, but it is good news for Ascension Parish if FEMA can't find a way to give away money. Like, we know from experience, we know from past hurricanes, past storms, that the folks at FEMA, they don't go home until they've been able to hand out as much money as possible, right? Whether it's needed or not, they're like all in. Just here, take some. I don't need it. Let's take it anyway. It shows up on that debt clock. But they're shutting down the center in Donaldsonville. That's a good thing. Residents of all parishes affected by Hurricane Ida can continue to visit a number of other centers open in Louisiana. Go to FEMA DRC locator to find out where the nearest one is. But the Disaster Recovery Center located in the LeMans Center in Donaldsonville closes 6 p.m. tomorrow. Well, there you go. Be on the lookout for that in the outside in. Also, I got to get on him about this. These numbers are terrible. Fight your FEMA guy. Also, and this is I'm like going to be all in on this countdown, and I cannot wait to hear Ask the Governor on Wednesday. Yesterday, I should have mentioned this earlier, like during the show. Yesterday, we got underneath 500 COVID-19 patients in the hospital. Now, the last time the mask mandate was lifted, that number was around 320-something, 328, I think. What's happening, Rich? I'm on YouTube. I got a minute. I got an interview coming up. We're going to do a YouTube thing.
I'm off Monday, but I'm still coming. I want to come.
For real?
Well, yeah, I enjoy it.
Well, I enjoy it too, but you don't.
3 or 4 anyway.
Yeah, all right.
So whatever. But if you don't see me tomorrow, which you won't, I'll still see you Monday.
Okay.
All right, dude.
Looking forward to it, brother. You too. So we were at 328 the last time the mask mandate was lifted, ish. I got to look the number up. I'm trying to do that off of memory. But it was in the low 300s, right? Under 350. We're at 477 right now. And if we stay on the same clip that we've been on since August 17th, we'll probably be under 300 on October 27th when this current mandate expires. The number of parishes, and this is the encouraging part to me, the number of parishes that are no longer at the highest risk of positivity has doubled again. 2 weeks ago, it was at 6. Last week, it was at 14. This week, it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. It's at 27. It almost doubled. But add to that, 2 parishes in the state now are no longer at high risk. They're at moderate risk. And that looks like St. Helena and Tensaw Parish. Is that Tensaw? I'm guessing that's Tensaw. Tensaw Parish, you can drop down to low risk just based off of one test. And Madison. Oh, excuse me. I stand corrected. Madison Parish is at 2.9% right now. So, good on them. All right, go ahead. You got an open track in Adobe ready to roll? Okay. Oh. That's fine. Or just start a folder for tomorrow. Because it's we're gonna air this back, I believe, at 8:40 tomorrow. He's calling us. Well, that means they don't want to give us their phone number. No, this goes through a booking agency. All right, YouTube. I'm gonna hop over to. I took some notes yesterday, so let me look at those in my phone. Get that.
More than anybody.
You do.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
There he is. What? Yeah.
Talk 107.3 mornings with Brian Haldane. Wonderful. I'll patch you through and we'll get this interview going. Thank you.
9:20 is my out. Okay. Go ahead. And hit. You were recording. All right. Peter, are you there?
Oh, hold on 1 second. I'm going to put him right through. Hold on.
Good deal. That was your mic check. Is that?
Okay, Brian. Here is Peter Stormare.
All right. Good deal. Is it? Are we recording, Jake? Okay. Peter, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm pretty good. How you doing, Brian?
Doing very well. I appreciate you hopping on with me. We're recording this for tomorrow morning's show, so it'll be the day of the premiere. So.
Oh, we're done. Darn.
Here we go. Joined right now by actor Peter Stormare. You've seen him in Fargo. You've seen him in you know what? As soon as I saw his face, I was like, "That's the guy from Bad Boys 2." He's been all over the place, been everywhere, and he joins us now. He's in the new movie, The Grand Duke of Corsica. Peter, welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good, Brian. How you doing down there?
Doing very well. Glad to have you on this morning. So, The Grand Duke of Corsica. I've watched the trailer. I've not had a chance to watch the film. Well, it premieres today, but I've not yet had a chance to watch the full film. This trailer is bizarre. Tell me all about this movie.
Well, it is a bizarre movie, and it's a European movie, and it was shot during November, October, November, December of 2019, and the whole movie ends with a pandemic, and it was bad timing because 1 month later we were hit with the pandemic, and little did we know, but it also has a lot of other stories in the movie, and it's actually more about two guys meeting like an architect that lives in a very, very concrete world where everything has to be physical and corners are corners and everything is aligned. And he meets the Grand Duke of Corsica, which is me, who lives in a completely dream. And and he gives this architect, Timothy Spall, English great actor, an offer to build me a mausoleum because I'm ready to die. And you don't know if I'm dying or not. I'm saying I'm dying, but it doesn't seem like it. But I want the mausoleum. And he takes the offer, and together we start to talk, and we hang out in my castle, and we become really good friends. I think we both fall in love sort of mentally. And it's a great story about how the real world meets the unknown, and personified by two actors, European actors. And it is a European art movie. It's not the regular paint by number where you can sit back and be spoon fed or force fed the story.
Mm-hmm.
You have to lean forward a little bit and sink into the story, and hopefully you will find a grain of gold or a seed that will be planted in your heart or soul that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. That's always my aim when I do something.
So go ahead.
Yeah. No, it should have a better title. It's like Shoot 'em Up, or,
I mean,
Death on Corsica or something, But it's the Grand Duke, and that's me. I'm the Grand Duke of Corsica.
Would you say it's more character-driven or story-driven? Because my takeaway from the trailer was between your character and the architect, it's very character-driven.
It is very character-driven, but it's a parallel story about, I wouldn't give it away, but it's two stories walking hand in hand. And it's a brave thing from a director to do this, and when you're an actor, or if you work like you, sometimes it's very intriguing to take on different tasks, like do something that is intriguing and that is like mind-boggling to you, and you're challenged to do something you haven't done for a while. And that's the beauty sometimes of European movies. There's a lot of crap in Europe too. Sorry to say that, but to do these sort of smaller art movies in Europe are really, really cool to do, because you can really create characters you can't do in other, under other flagships.
As an actor, do you have a preference of walking down this not so beaten path with this type of movie, or sticking to the other genres of? I mean, you've been in basically everything. I mean, from Fargo, a lot of the Coen Brothers stuff you did. You were in Constantine and Bad Boys 2. You did Longmire. Yeah. I mean, do you have a preference, or do you just like to experience all of it?
I'm a grasshopper. I love to jump around from different projects. If I'm lucky enough to do 6 to 8 projects a year, I'd rather do a smaller part in a great movie or in a great cast than doing a big part like one movie a year. I think I have too much ants in my pants, and I want to do as much as I can while I'm still here on Earth. And I don't feel safe, and I don't like to be stuck with one project for 1 or 2 years, to be on TV, on a show for 5 years. That's not me. I can't do those kind of gigs. I'd rather jump from one project to another. I don't really have a preference.
Okay.
The thing is, sometimes with the big American movies, I don't want to trash anything, but I've never been interested myself into superheroes and those kind of things where everything is, no one dies, everybody survives. We know the story from the beginning. It's like James Bond. Never been a James Bond fan. My brother was, but I said he never died. We know from the beginning he's going to survive, even if he's put over the sharks while I'm sitting in the Barbados taking a drink, and you will die a horrible death, Mr. Bond. Then you know, 2 seconds later he's gone. You know,
Right.
with a girl at his side. I like more the unknown. I like Aliens was a movie. You know, it's high up on my scale. Or Close Encounters, where it's sort of you're in a territory which you're not really familiar with, and you have to really sink into those movies and just not walk away after 5 minutes.
I like it. We got Peter
Yeah.
Stormare for another couple minutes. I've got to ask you about your journey. I mean, coming from Sweden, hopping over to America in the early '90s. Walk me through how, not just how the industry has evolved since then, but making that jump, making that leap. That's a huge stride to take. What brought you over here?
Desire. My father loved this country. He worked a lot over here, went back and forth, and he always wanted to immigrate, and he did, sort of, because of his work. But for me, even when I was 5 years old, I said, I'm going to live in California when I'm older. And they asked me, what are you going to do in California? I said, I'm going to work with movies, I think, and I'm going to live close to Disneyland, and I'm going to bring it to Disneyland. And I did. And the leap is, when I look back, my village is like 1,500 people in the northern Sweden, a lot of snow. And to get out of that village and make the leap all the way to Hollywood is, yeah, it's incredible. I can't even believe it myself. But I always followed my gut feeling and my inner voice that led me since I was born. And I had a premonition, or maybe it was a dream I nourished all the time. But I don't know what happened to me, but I'm happy that it happened to me. And I still thank the angels, you know, every day. And I thank my lucky star that brought me over to this beautiful country, which I love. And if it was a premonition or if it was a dream, I don't have a clue. But you have you have to nourish your dreams or premonitions. And I did every darn day. And I still do that. I still feel like I'm 5, 6 years old, and my body's getting older and older, but the brain is still the same. It's strange. It's still the same. I don't understand, but that's part of being alive, I guess, to realize how beautiful it can be,
And
even during a pandemic.
Oh no, totally. And that was the surreal nature of this movie ending with the pandemic before the pandemic that we're in right now began is baffling to me as well. Look, I know you got to get on to your next interview, but I greatly appreciate your time. The Grand Duke of Corsica is open today in theaters. He is Peter Stormare. Thank you so much for hopping on board with me.
Thank you, Brian, and all the best to you people down there.
Appreciate it. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. He was good. That was fun. That's the kind of interview where I want like 3 times as much time. I'm allotted 8 minutes, and I took 10. Because he's supposed to have 2 minutes to get off the phone with me and on the phone with the next one. And honestly, that's normally what happens is another guy pops his voice in and says, he has to move on. I'm glad I didn't get chopped off with that. They usually give a little more leeway when it's the interviewee who's taking more time than the interviewer. Like, I didn't get to half the questions I had for him. Yeah. They're over there. They're in the studio, and he's getting the let's move it on sign. So, yeah, that was fun. All right, well, guys, y'all know what is the 8:40 segment for tomorrow, right? Got it right here. You just heard it, and I appreciate y'all sticking around to hang out with that. Hey, let me know in the comments if you like that sort of thing. Little bonus content on the end of the show. It is a sneak preview of what's to come, but let me know. He was an interesting cat, to say the least. I'm going to check out this movie to be sure. It looks, like I said, it looks so crazy. Just go watch the trailer. I don't know where to begin. Anyway, we will see y'all tomorrow.